Hello, hello, hello. How are y'all? And remember, I can see you. So when I ask you how you doing, I need you to wave back, say hello. I am Alicia Reese. Hey y'all. Hi, good evening, good evening. It is so good to see you. Hey Curtis, I see you. Hey Erica. Hey Doreen. Hey Amari and Stanley and Dante and Anthony L. Williams. Okay, I see you. Hey, Denise. Oh, it looks so good in here. Hey, Eva. And Trevor, I see you. Hello, hello, hello. Listen, I don't know if you guys are as excited as I am, but yesterday I got my entire life. It was so good. I took so many notes. I saw y'all over in the chat letting me know that y'all notes were fire, that you don't even need to replay. You took such good notes. But don't worry. Yesterday we had over 3,800 of y'all join us live. And guess what? There were so many of you who joined, some folks couldn't even get in. It was so good. So guess what Terry did? Because she is truly a phenomenal human for day one and for day one only, because I saw y'all having the conversation in the chat. And the one thing we're going to always do is address your questions. And so what she did as a gift, simply because there were so many folks who could not get in for day one, whether or not you are a VIP, you got the day one recording. It is on YouTube now, but please understand, that's the only gift that you're getting. So if you are not a VIP, make sure you are a VIP so that you can get the recordings for every single lesson and session during the Take Your First Trade experience. This right here is unlike anything other. And if you missed last night, y'all could just ask in the chat. As we are getting started, I want you to even include, just give me just a note that you guys had from yesterday. Because for those who did not join us or were not able to join us, for those who did, I need you guys to add just some quotes from some learnings that you had last night, because it was so good. That's right, earn. Procrastination and fear is expensive. Yes, the tree. Listen, it was 24 stockbrokers who started the New York Stock Exchange under a tree. Yes, you are good enough. Yes, change makes millionaires. So do not be afraid of change. Mindset is the key to learning. Do it afraid, earn, and act now. Y'all, this is so good. Wisdom and knowledge, adapt, adjust, overcome. Yes, render to the strategy and arrange your vision. I don't think y'all understand. And this is just from last night. So I need you to know, if they're adding all of this from last night, you can only imagine what we are about to learn today. When I tell you I'm getting extremely excited, let me tell you why. We are committing to ourselves, we are committing to our legacy, and we are going to be making change. We are changing today so that tomorrow looks different. We are saving ourselves and putting ourselves in position to save us. Y'all look so good. Now, I saw some of y'all letting me know where y'all were coming in from. So it's a whole lot more of you on here. So can y'all just put in the chat for me real quick? Where's everybody from? I saw some California. I saw some Tampa. Okay, DMV, San Antonio. We got Africa in the building. We are international, y'all. Yet again, we got Delaware. We got BK all day. Brooklyn, stand up. We got Houston, Milwaukee, Atlanta, Pittsburgh, Mississippi, New Jersey. Oh, we got everything. Listen, we are not even going to hold you tonight because Terry has so much that she is going to get into. So we are about to get started. Thank you all for joining us and for joining yourselves for the Take Your First Trade experience. Now to the video.
Missing out on $500,000 is no fun. Hi, I'm Terry Ijeoma. I missed out on big opportunities because I saw the time to invest but didn't know how to do it. But that shouldn't be you. Because after learning to trade and teaching over 35,000 people like yourself, I can safely say you can take control of your financial future now. Take your first trade challenge live with me, Terry Igioma, Grand Champion of Teachable's Creator Challenge, featured in Black Enterprise, Yahoo Finance, ABC, NBC, Good Morning America, for helping everyday people trade stocks for income. I will be leading a live workshop for 5 straight evenings, joined by 5 incredible guest speakers. People like Anthony O'Neill, a #1 national best-selling author and host of The Table with AO. Robert Hartwell, who is a TV host and executive producer with HGTV and OWN. Rachel Rogers, CEO of Hello7 and the best-selling author of We Should All Be Millionaires. Tiffany the Budgetnista Liche, who has supported millions with her books and blog as the Budgetnista and author of the New York Times bestseller Get Good with Money. And Dr. Darnielle Jervey Harmon, who's an Inc. 5000 CEO and best-selling author of Move to Millions, the proven framework to become a $1 million CEO with grace and ease instead of hustle and grind. Together, we will be spilling the beans on understanding the stock market, learning about stocks and indexes, opening a brokerage account, how to buy a share of a stock and place your first trade, and selling the stock for a profit. In just 5 days, you can be buying and selling your first stock. Let's put your money to work. This could be your first step towards long-term financial freedom. Get ready to take your future by the horns.
Welcome back. How y'all doing today? Y'all doing well? Put a heart in the chat if you're doing well. How are you? Good to see you all. Oh my goodness, it looks so good to see you all. But we got a lot to cover today. So let's get right into it. So as you know, this is our classroom. Welcome to class, everyone. Before we sit down, we do our disclaimer and our ground rules. So first, I want to remind you, especially in this one, because we're about to go deeper today. Yesterday, I had heard that a lot of you all were afraid to come into the stock market, so we were real basic. We laid out the ground like basics of the stock market, but today we're going to go pretty deep. So let me first say the disclaimer. So I am not a licensed stockbroker. I'm just a woman who knows how to make income trading stocks. Amen. And options. I'm not making recommendations for you to trade. All of your decisions are completely at your own risk. All the information in this course is for educational purposes only. Also, in ground rules, the type of people that we allow in our class, we are positive people. We are proactive. We are persistent. And we commit to showing up. Remember that? We commit because this is bigger than you. This is bigger than all of us. So we're committing to ourselves. So we're going to make our commitment statement again before we take our seats in class. Remember, this is class. And so I'm going to read the commitment statement, and then you're going to repeat it back to me, okay? Here we go. And we'll see everybody behind me. Ready? All right, say I, and then say your name. I, Terry Igioma, commit to improve myself this week. Commit to improve myself this week. I will dedicate my time. Y'all know I can see y'all. Dolores, you not saying nothing. You just looking at me. I will dedicate time each lesson to show up for myself and my family. Good stuff. I love it, Carmen. Love it, Miss Susan. And my future legacy. I commit to myself. Yes. Shout out. Hey, Anthony. Hey, everybody. Hey, Ingrid. Good to see you all. So before we get started today, I wanted to actually show you what this looks like in real life. I know some of you all saw me yesterday and you were like, okay, she's Teacher Terry. I love Teacher Terry, but I also want to know Investor Terry. So as we get started, I want to give you a little, go ahead and take your seats. You can take your seat now. Welcome to class. So as we get into it, I wanted to show you what my portfolio looks like so that you can start dreaming of what investing can actually look like in your life. So here we go. What you're about to see, I'm going to show you the actual portfolio itself, but I manage my foundation. Yesterday in the VIP session, we talked about should you be a professional investor or a personal investor. I've been trading now 14 years. The first 12 years, I just traded as a personal investor, but more recently, I've had to switch to professional because I manage my foundation. This year is up 38.5% or 38.15% year to date. One of my best and favorite trades is Disney. It's up 225% right now. I made over $46,000 just today. All this that you're about to see, I pulled up today. And the cool thing about it is I can now use that to impact things that I truly love. So things I'm passionate about are, I love clean water. I love making sure that people have affordable housing. I like education. So now I get to dream about how I can improve the world because of this investment that I made in Disney. So let me show you what this actually looks like. And I'm going to come over to the vibe board. I got some new nails today, so bear with me. All right. So let me point this out. I'm about to show you in my portfolio what I just showed or told you on the last slide. And is anybody else excited to see this? Like, you actually get to, okay, good, I'm seeing a lot of hands. Good. You actually get to see inside so that you can get a view of what's possible. I think that's the biggest thing with investing. We're so afraid because we've always heard that you can't be positive with investing, but you can. So here we go. And the tech team is in here. Are we okay? Okay. So this portfolio I'm managing, I told you, for my foundation, it's pretty significant. It has almost $3 million in it. We invested in some other investments outside of just equities. There's a little bit of diversity. So you'll see that there's a significant amount in here. Part of it, let me tell you the breakdown. Right now, I have a big chunk of it in cash, and I'd like to actually invest more of it, but because this is a foundation, where we are a bit risk averse. So a big portion of it is in cash, and we're getting the basic 5%. The first day, remember I told you all that I think investing goes in 3 different sections. So, or did I even get to talk to you guys about this? Did I talk to y'all yesterday about the levels of investing? Okay. So let me tell you, I think that there's 3 big levels to investing, especially in the stock market. The first one is your savings account. Right now, if you have a high yield savings account, you can make about 4 to 5% return on your cash. And honestly, I think that's the foundation of investing in the stock market, because you're making some interest, you're putting it into an account where you can get some interest. That's what's happening here with the 1.6 million. So this area right here, it's in cash. But I tell you the truth, when it talks about unrealized gains and losses, it's not really making a lot. We're making a little bit on that interest, that 4 to 5%. But honestly, when you look at the whole portfolio, the cash is not making a lot, which is why I'm like so passionate about, okay, guys, you guys got to start investing, because if it's just sitting in your account, it's not doing anything, right? So we'll erase that. But then I said, you know what? I'm a trader. And for trading, I didn't get to go over this yesterday either. So the difference between an active investor and a passive investor is a passive investor, they're usually in there for the long run. So they're not in their account as much. They might even be doing like a buy and hold version of investing. An active investor, we're in and out of our trades throughout the year, and we're trying to make income. So for me, I said, I really want to make this account grow much more than the 5% that's in savings. So I'm going to invest it. And I decided to invest it in Disney. So this is my investment down here in Disney. Right there. This is an options trade. So you all are not going to learn that this week. We talk about it in the Bigger Trade and Travel course. But this is an options trade. That's why you see like call, Disney, 100 expiration. So my expiration was at $100. And this expires January 17th, 2025. So it's a little further out. By January of next year, I want this position to move and do what I want it to do, okay? Again, this part is for you all to dream. So don't get, if you're like, oh my God, I don't get it, don't worry. This week we're covering the basics, but I just want to give you a taste of what's possible when you're getting better at investing. So I have this options trade going, and you can see, let's actually look over here. Well, does it show it? Well, we'll just start here. I've made $745,000 so far on this investment, and it's up 225%. I started with about 300,000 that I put into this investment, and now it's already up and worth over $1 million. Now, I'll tell you the truth, I'm a little disappointed about this because a couple weeks ago, Disney had hit its 52-week high. 52-week high means it's the highest that it's been in the last year. And this position was actually 1.3, and I was up over $1 million. So it's come down a little bit, but I'm giving it some time, right? And because I'm a trader, I've looked at something called charts. We're going to talk about that a little today. So I know that it might come down a little bit, but it'll go back up, and then I'll exit. But just to show you, so I'm up 700,000, made over 225% return. Now here's the thing. Sometimes people say, well, all traders lose. And well, because of this one trade, and take note, you can do this with just one stock. Sometimes as investors, you feel like you got to be invested in everything and you got to look at it all the time. I'm not looking at this all the time. This is called a swing trade. A day trade is if I was in the stock and out of the stock in the same day. This one, I'm going to sit on it a little while, but probably still get out of it in less than a year. That's considered a swing trade. But look at my overall portfolio. Because I am, and this was just today. This is what I was telling y'all. I had made $46,000 today. Today's change, $46,000. So I told y'all I was up 746. But this is what I really want to point out. Let me change the color. No, change the purple. This right here. Do y'all see it? Okay, I kind of covered it up a little bit. But in this portfolio, this one position has me up over 38% in the overall portfolio. I'm up 200% on that one trade, but remember, because I have some in cash to keep myself safe, the whole portfolio has moved up 38%. You guys see? So when someone says oh, investors, traders don't make any money, that's not true. I'm making money here. Oh, well, you can't make more than 8 to 10%. So there's levels to this. As a savings account, you can make 4 to 5% return. As a passive investor, if you invest in the S&P 500 and the indexes, which we're learning this week, on average, you can make about 8 to 10%. But then as a more active investor and a trader that can pick stocks, no, it's not always going to look like this. And yes, I am a little bit, this is a little risky to just have one stock in this portfolio. But we can do better than the 8 to 10%. Last week, I was on an interview for ABC, and they asked me, why do you trade? Why do you think it's important to trade? And I said, because as a trader, I don't have any ceiling. Every other type of investing, you have a cap. If I was in a savings account, the most that I could make is 4 to 5%. If I was in just the indexes, which we're going to teach, and I think this is important, it's a safer, relatively safer, everything has risk, but relatively safer trade, is 8 to 10%. But if I want to make more than 10%, how do I get there? As a trader, more active investors can make higher returns. So does this make sense? Why we're talking through this week and why it's so important that at least you learn the skill. This might not be something that you decide you want to do forever, but at least you have the knowledge so that you can take the ceiling off of your investment. Put a zoom in so y'all can see. Hold on one second. Let me erase everything. And y'all, shout out to my team in the background. We have a whole team helping to make sure that you all get everything. I don't think I did that right. Come on. Y'all, this is Jolie. How do I erase everything? Thank you. Thank you. So now you guys can see it a little bit better. Y'all see it? So this is the foundation. Now tell me in the chat, if you had just made $700,000 for your foundation, how would you give it away? Because literally, that's the fun that I get to have now, is I get to dream about how to give away $700,000, all from this trade that I did on Disney. So tell me in the chat, how would you give away $700,000? And y'all, this is also in the slides. So if y'all want to do side by side, talking to the team in the back, if y'all want to do side by side, maybe it might be a little clearer.
Except if it's smaller.
Oh, okay, never mind. Well, hopefully y'all can hear me and y'all can see it's happening. Okay, good. So I'm seeing housing, reproductive health. Oh yeah, that's good. Inner city youth activities, scholarships, educational programs, cancer care. I love that. Homeless help. See, this is the exciting thing that you get to do when you start making more money. Now you get to daydream about, how do I give it away? I told y'all before what helps me, but I'm going to keep going because we got a lot to learn today. But hopefully this gives you a sense of like what's possible when you can start doing this well. All right, let's move on. So as you guys know, this week, okay, yeah, I see somebody over there like, okay, you gonna teach us how to do that this week? No. We have like in the Trade and Travel program, it's 8 weeks long. What we're covering this week is like in week 1 of the 8 weeks. But what we are gonna make sure that we cover for you all are these 5 things. So we did the market overview yesterday. Then we're going to go to index overview, opening a brokerage account, buying the stock, and then selling the stock. So by the end of today, this week, you will be able to buy and sell your first stock after our 5 lessons. Got it? And that's that second level I was telling you about. So the first one is savings. If you have a savings account, you're already an investor. Then the next level is the passive investing. That's someone who kind of lets it sit for a little longer. You don't have to have it sit over a year. That's why I think this is like the foundation of before you get to active investor. And then you go to the top level. Our objectives, as we said before, is first, invest in 1 share. This week, you're going to make your first trade. You're going to invest in 1 share. It may not be Disney, but you're going to invest in 1 share of the indexes. And then second objective, sell that share for a profit. I told you when this gets to a certain point, I've already checked it out on the chart. I think at 132 is where I'm looking for to sell it. At 132, when it gets there, I'll sell, make a profit, and then I'll have solidified the million plus that I can give away for charity. Yesterday was lesson number 1. We did the market overview. Today is lesson number 2, and we got a lot to cover. We're going to cover the history and a recap. What are the indexes? Understanding ETFs, reviewing sectors, introduce you to charts, which is how I choose my points of entry and exit, and then building the watch list. All those things we have coming up today. So let's go into it. All right. Yesterday we covered, and for some of you guys, I know you weren't able to get in, so I'll cover this. I'll cover this for you. We talked about the history of the stock market. My quick recap. You ready? So first of all, there were some companies, they needed to raise money. When they started raising money, they couldn't figure out what to do. So they said, how about we give away a piece of our company and we'll sell it to the public? That's called initial public offering. Once they started getting these pieces of their company and giving them away, the investors that had those pieces of the company said, you know what? I think I want to sell this piece of the company. That's what happened in New York, by the way. In New York, companies were starting to give away pieces of their company, shares in their company, and there were 24 stockbrokers who were actually helping to facilitate the transfer. They knew somebody over here that was wanting to sell a piece of their company, sell a share, and they knew somebody over here that wanted to buy a share. So they were stockbrokers. They were helping trade the shares. In the 1700s, they got underneath a tree, 24 of them, and said, you know what? We're going to only trade with each other. If you have a stock to sell and I have one to buy, we'll trade amongst each other, 24 of them. Those 24 people ended up growing, and they became the New York Stock Exchange. It's the biggest stock exchange in the world. Some of the ones, and this is all stuff that we talked about yesterday, so this is the recap. Some of the big stock exchanges that we follow are the New York Stock Exchange, the NASDAQ, and then there's some overseas, London, Tokyo, Hong Kong. So all of that is what we covered yesterday. Now we're going to keep going even further. So yesterday we found out that there were those brokers and they were underneath a tree. In 1896, though, there was some people that said, you know what? Now that there's these stock exchanges and people are starting to trade stocks, we want to do some statistics. We want to have a way to figure out how those companies are doing overall. So two guys got together. One guy, I'll tell you his name. One guy was Charles Henry Jones, and the other one was Charles Henry Dow and Edward D. Jones. They got together and they said, okay, I have a publishing house and I can tell the world how these stocks are doing. And the other one said, I have a statistics company. How about we just put some stocks together and create an average? That way we can tell people how the stocks are doing overall. And this is the cool part. I didn't ever realize that the Dow Jones, it really is an average. We see that all the time. We see the name of it is Dow Jones Industrial Average. But at the time, the two guys, Charles and Edward, they put 12 companies together and they said, we're just going to add up their stock prices and divide it by 12. And that's going to be the average of these companies. And we'll let people know what the average of those stocks is trading for right now. It became the Dow Jones Industrial Average, and it became something that now the whole world looks at as a way to see how the stock market is doing overall. Isn't that crazy? Like literally, I want to be one of those people that comes up with something and hundreds of years, well, not hundreds, but like 100 years later, the whole world uses it as a metric of success. Isn't that kind of cool? Just two guys came together and said, you know what? What if we just create this statistic? Dow Jones Industrial Average. They took the average of 12 stocks. Now, it's actually 30 companies. And I'm going fast because we have so much to cover. So now, it's 30 companies. Back then, when it was just 12, and you can't read this whole slide, but I'm going to tell you the part that's important. Ah, man, you can't see the bottom of it. I'll tell you. The producers were gas, sugar, tobacco, oil. Those were the main companies that they were looking at. Those top 12 companies was gas, sugar, tobacco, and oil, and railroads. So industrial. That's how you got the name Dow Jones Industrial Average, because the 12 companies they were looking at were in the industries. It's so like, to me, I think this is cool because you see these names and you think they're like some big deal, and it's like, actually, no, they took 12 industrial companies, they took the average of their stock prices, and that's how we got the Dow Jones. That's it. Now they've opened it up to a lot more companies, and it looks like this. So these are the 30 companies. And I do believe they may have switched out one of these recently. And part of your homework is I want you to go look at what's in the Dow so you guys can let me know, are these still the top 30 companies? But most of these companies are really well known. Are they up here? So most of these companies are really well known, but they're in all different industries. So I love that. But the fact is, it's really just 30. And now it's not just an equal weight by pricing. So before they had said, okay, these prices and then divided equally by 12. Now because of stock splits and different things with the companies, they weight it a little differently. But these are the 30 companies that the Dow Jones is tracking. Raise your hand. I can see you guys. So raise your hand if that makes a little bit more sense. Now you understand a little more about what the Dow is. And when we say indexes are just a group of companies. So the Dow Jones is one of the indexes that we follow to see how the stock market is doing. So these 30 companies is a bucket of companies, and that's an index. Cool, right? And I see some hands raised. We'll be able to get your questions later. But now you know what the index of the Dow is. And when you see it on CNBC or Wall Street Journal or something, and they say the Dow Jones moved up 20 points today, or it moved up 100 points, you'll know these 30 companies moved up. The average of them, calculated in an interesting way, moved up today. That's what they're saying. And because the companies are so diverse and they pretty much hit on every part of the United States and every part of industry, then they say that this is a good representation of the whole market. Pretty cool. What we're going to learn this week is how to invest in that. So if you said, okay, Terry, I like the Dow. How do I invest in those 30 companies today, like this week? That's what we're doing, right? So keep going, fast forward in history, 2 more people got together. Now we have Standard & Poor's. 2 more people. Poor's had a publishing house, and Standard had a statistics house, and they decided, you know what? We also want to track how well the stock market is doing. But instead of just 30 companies, or even 12 companies at the time, because it's back in the day, instead of those companies and just industrial companies, we want to track 500 companies. And the 500 has also changed, I believe, over time. I'm not sure that it was always 500, but they wanted to track more of the United States' best companies. So Poor's Publishing House and Standard Statistics got together, and that's how you now have S&P, Standard & Poor's 500, the S&P 500. Isn't that so, it's so simple, even though we think it's so hard. So this publishing and statistics house said, okay, well, we'll start publishing these statistics. And the S&P 500 now is one of the most, that's something that we all track to see how the stock market is doing. Again, I'm just saying, if I could be like Standard or Poor's and create something that the world looks at, literally the world looks at the rest of, the next 100, 200 years, how awesome would that be? But now let's talk about it. So now that they have this group of companies, they have something called a weighting. So Standard & Poor's didn't do an average like the Dow Jones. Back in the day when the Dow Jones was created, remember they had those 12 companies and then they just did an average. They divided by 12. The S&P, they weighted it in a little different way. So now they have 500 companies, but each company gets a little different percentage of the money. And I actually have an example that we're going to do right now to show you what that looks like. But here are the top companies in Apple. And let me tell my team, hey guys, can y'all help me move this table so that we can do the example? So Apple is the highest weighted one inside of the S&P at the moment. The weight on it is 7%. Thank you. Microsoft's next. About 6% of the S&P average goes to Microsoft. And we're going to show you an example so you can see what this means. Next, we have Amazon. Amazon has about 3% of the average. Then NVIDIA. Now, NVIDIA grew so much this year. So this average actually might change because NVIDIA went from being $400 to about $900 just this year. Next, Alphabet. Alphabet also is about 2% of the average. And remember, you have 500 of these companies, so you can't have a ton of percentage for any of these one companies. It's going to be small because you got to get 500 into this average, this index. Next, you have Meta, and then Alphabet again. Now, Alphabet has 2 different, this part I actually had to tell you the truth. I'm not quite sure why Alphabet has 2 different classes. I know what they mean. They're just 2 different classes. One gets more voting rights than another one, but I'm not quite sure. And they also have 2 different ticker symbols. Mind you, ticker symbol. Ticker symbol is just a 3 to 4 letter abbreviation for a company. So when you see GOOG on here, GOOG, then that's the ticker symbol for Google. Hey team, I need the board and the money. Sorry, y'all. I'll make sure we get to show y'all this example. Then, Berkshire Hathaway. Okay, there we go. Thank you. And I need the money and there we go. Then the next one's Berkshire Hathaway. It's at 1.81%. And then United Health Group is at 1.13%. Perfect. All right, guys, we're going to attempt to do something really, really cool. I'm going to show you what this really looks like in real life. Because remember, our goal by the end of the week is to invest our money into this one? Okay. The goal is to invest our money into the S&P 500 or the Dow. You could choose. And then there's another index I'll show you right after this. Actually, while they go get the money, then I'll show you the next one. So S&P 500 has 500 companies. And this slide that I'm showing you, this is the top 28 of those 500. After Standard & Poor's came along, then another index came along, but actually this is another stock market. The NASDAQ came, and the NASDAQ actually trades in technology. So instead of before in the New York Stock Exchange, everybody had to be in person and they were buying and selling stocks in person. The NASDAQ came along and said, you know what, we have technology now. We don't need people. We can use computers to buy and sell companies. So that's why a lot of the technology companies actually go on the NASDAQ Stock Exchange, and the NASDAQ also has an index. They usually look at technology companies, and there's about 100 of them. So that's the NASDAQ. Somebody steal my money? We're bringing out money for this example. Y'all gotta find it in my bag, or Jean has it. All right, we'll keep going until they get this money out. So here are the top companies in NASDAQ. Y'all see them? And y'all can bring up the slide full screen. So we've got Amazon, Tesla, Apple, eBay, Zoom, T-Mobile, Facebook, which is now Meta, Adobe, Microsoft. So when you decide, okay, I want to actually invest in tech companies, I want to invest in the NASDAQ index, then you'll be looking at some of these companies in that bucket. All right? So y'all tell me in the chat, pop quiz, what are some of the companies in the Dow? Pop quiz. We just went over some. Lorraine's like, I will definitely need to watch this again. Yep. I think, is the chat frozen? Okay, there we go. Gotcha. Okay, no. Okay, so Beatrice, you put that tobacco was inside of the Dow. No. Let's talk about that. There are several different asset classes inside of investing, and there's different exchanges that exchange different things. Let me repeat that in a better way. If you wanted to exchange currencies, the asset class you would be trading is Forex. If you wanted to exchange commodities like tobacco, the asset class you would exchange in is futures. If you want to exchange companies, then you're in equities, which is stocks and options. So if I ask about the Dow, which is a bucket of the top 30 companies, then it'd have to be a company. Tobacco is a commodity. Good. I'm seeing Apple, Microsoft, Tesla, Google, McDonald's, yep. Meta, Chevron, yes. Now tell me, what are some of the things in the S&P 500? And yes, a company can be in more than one. Great. Walmart, yep. Remember, pop quiz, it's the top 500 companies in the United States. You could probably pick anything and you'd be in correct. Now let's talk about our tech companies. Name some things in the NASDAQ. And many of you all have been naming, even in the S&P 500, tech companies, but things in the NASDAQ. Great, I'm seeing NVIDIA, Zoom, yep, Meta, IBM. Great. I love it. I love it, I love it, I love it. All right, now let's do the example. Are y'all ready? Remember that our goal by the end of this week is we're buying a share of one of these indexes. Let's just assume that we're buying a share in the S&P 500. I want to show you where your money would be going. Okay? So here's the example. All right, guys, this is where we're going to need the cameras. All right. So, where do you want me to look? Here? Okay. So we're going to put out $100 into the top 28 companies or 25 companies in the S&P 500, just to show you how your money is getting distributed in each of the companies when you invest in the S&P. So I don't need 20s. I'm going to go down to ones and coins. So here are dollars. And I'm just going to put this down on the ground. Okay, and here are our companies. We just told you that there were all these companies. There's about 500, but we told you the top 10, right? So this one is Microsoft. Microsoft right now, we updated our number. So Microsoft right now has a weighting of 7.26%. So if we had $100, that means that $7.26 is going to go to Microsoft out of our 100. And I'm going to be a legit teacher, and this might take a minute, but I really want to hone this point in because this is what we're investing in, right? So Microsoft, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We need a quarter. Can one of the team come help me open these? My little nail's going to pop off. Thank you. So we need 26 cents. So 25 and then a penny. And y'all, just so you know, these dollars and coins add together to 100. So if we're thinking 100% has to go into these 500 companies, this is how the money's distributed. So Microsoft has $7.26 because it's 7.26% of the S&P. That's the weighting that they give Microsoft. Next one was Apple. Apple's weighting is 5.66% of the S&P. So it's number 2. So we're going to give it $5.66. Let me just double check. Yep. So we're giving it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 66 cents. If you could help me count them. Here, I'll let you see what's coming. So next one is this. All right, $5.66. So the next one is NVIDIA. I told y'all, like, when we were looking at those numbers before, I told you, I think NVIDIA's percentage has changed because the stock price went up. It went up to almost $900 this year. Huge, like huge increase. People making millions and billions off of NVIDIA. So now its weighting in the S&P is 5.14%. So we're going to give it, here, I'll put it on. Nah, we'll go in order. I'll put it right here, and it gets $5.14. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Thank you. Next one, we'll go a little faster. Next one is Amazon. This is ranked number 4 in the S&P. Its weighting is 3.70%. So we're going to give it $3.70. 1, 2, 3. Thank you. 70 cents. And this is Amazon again. Next one is Google. Is this Google? No. What is this? Meta. I was like, it doesn't have an F on it. You're right. The symbol changed. This is Meta, so that used to be Facebook. It's ranked number 5. Its percent is 2.54%. I promise I know what I'm doing, y'all. But I was like, what's logo? 2.54, so it gets $2.54. Thank you. Next one is Google again. Remember, Google was in there twice. The other Google is 1.98, so it gets $1.98. Berkshire Hathaway is 7th, ranked number 7th. It's 1.71% of the S&P, so it gets $1.71. So that one gets 71 cents. Next one is Eli Lilly. It's ranked number 8. It gets $1.40. These are percentages, but because we have $100, we know how much to give it. So it's 1.4% of the S&P 500. So it gets $1.40. Thank you. And we'll go through the top 10. Broadcom is the next one, ranked number 9. It's weighted 1.35% of the S&P 500. So it, out of your $100, would get $1.35. Thank you. Create a little circle here. Next is Tesla. Tesla's ranked number 10 right now at 1.09% of the S&P. So it's $1.09. Thank you. Actually, we're going to do one more because we don't have any banks on here yet. So ranked number 11th is Morgan Stanley, or excuse me, JP Morgan. And so it's 1.34% is its weighting. Actually, it would be a little higher than what we gave Tesla. But JP Morgan, and we need 31 cents. But do you see what's happening here? So inside of this index, we're splitting our money across all these companies. And if you invest in the S&P 500, you're now investing in 500 companies, but just a little bit in each one. And how much you're putting in each one is predicated on the weighting that it has inside of the index. Now, here's the thing, though. You, as an investor, retail investor, cannot invest in an index. So if you said, okay, I really want to invest in that, let me get a share of an index, you can't. The way that you invest in this is something called an exchange-traded fund. It is a fund that mimics the index. So in that fund, they take $100 and they actually put it in the same weightings as the S&P index. And you can invest in they're called ETFs, exchange-traded fund. You can invest in an ETF like a stock. So that's what we're going to teach you how to do. What ETFs follow these indexes so that you can invest in them like a stock. Does that make sense? And Lena, you're new to investing. Does this make sense to you? Any questions you have as we've done this example? Oh, come close to me to be on the mic.
Yes. This is like just alphabet soup, breaking it down, very simple. I get it, and if I put my money in here and I can see how it's weighted, it makes so much more sense seeing it visually. I'm a visual learner, so yeah.
Good. And how about for you all? Y'all put it in the chat. Does this help you see it more clearly? Excellent, teacher. Oh, thank you, Wendy. You like my teacher examples? Good. Makes sense. You rock. Absolutely clear. Beautiful. I figure if I'm going to teach you how to invest in a stock, I want you to understand what you're investing in. And when people say, oh, you should invest in an index because it moves on average from 8 to 10%, then this is what they're saying. They're saying you should invest in this group of companies. It's already been weighted out based on the size of the company. And then you can do this through an ETF. So we'll talk further about an ETF. But real quick, before I put this example away, we have other symbols here. Do y'all want to know what some of the weighting is of the other symbols? Would that be helpful? Some people are like, no. Okay, good. You're good. Perfect. Wonderful. All right, as long as you guys understand it, then I'll keep moving forward. Wonderful. I am going to sneak, though. There's a few in here I like. Visa's in here. Weighting, it's ranked number 13. Weighting is 1.04%, so we would have gave it $1. Exxon is in here. Johnson & Johnson, MasterCard, Procter & Gamble, Home Depot. It's ranked 18. We would have gave it 89 cents. Keep it going. Costco, AbbVie, Salesforce. I like Salesforce. I spoke to their staff before. They would have gotten 68 cents. They're ranked 22. Chevron, AMD, Netflix, ranked 25. We would have gave them 61 cents. Amazon again, we got them already. So now let's talk about these ETFs and how you can actually invest in them. All right, we'll leave the money. Thank you all. Thank you all so much. Oh, let me get the clicker. Thank you. Thank you, Joey. All right, so now we're back. So these ETFs, back to our history lesson. The ETFs were actually born out of a crisis. Back in the day, here I'll show you. Back in the day, the market fell apart. And they realized during this crash that they had no way of investing in the whole market as a whole. And the thought was if they would have been able to have investors invest in the whole market, those indexes, the market wouldn't have crashed. This isn't the 2008 one. This was a crash way before that. Let me see if you can see. Let me see if I can get that slide up. Here we go. So these ETFs were born out of crisis. I just love this headline. But basically, can y'all see me if I point to this?
You
No?
have to zoom in. Zoom
Okay.
in on it, and I can take a full screen. to
Okay.
zoom in on where you want to see.
And I can talk through it.
Sure, no problem.
Okay. Okay. The main point that I wanted, since this slide is kind of hard to read, the main point that I wanted to tell you all is it was called Black Monday. It happened in 1987. It happened down here. It was infamously known as Black Monday. The market plummeted, and then that's what caused the Great Depression, right? They thought that that wouldn't have happened if people could have invested in the overall index. Those people who invested in the indexes could have helped keep the market afloat. But because there was no way to invest in all 500 companies or all the top companies, then the market fell. Out of that came the SPY. It was an ETF, an exchange traded fund, a fund that mimicked the overall indexes, and it came so that people could invest in a little bit of all those companies, and now they felt like, okay, now the stock market will be more stable. Like clearly we've had COVID and we've seen some things, but in general, this does help the stock market because now you have retirements and pensions all investing in mutual funds, in exchange traded funds, funds that mimic this S&P 500. And yes, remind me, y'all, to tell you the difference between an exchange-traded fund and a mutual fund. They're very similar. They're just funds that you can put a little bit of money in each one when you invest in the fund as a whole. I'll tell you now. Exchange-traded funds, you can invest in them like a stock. So any time of day, you can get in and out of the exchange-traded fund. A mutual fund, they have one time a day at the end of the day where you can invest in them. So that means that their price is set one time a day. The ETFs, the price fluctuates throughout the day. I personally prefer the ETFs because I can trade them. Because I'm an active investor, if I decide to get into a ETF in the morning, I can trade it by the afternoon and it trades like a stock. Mutual funds are a little harder to get in and out of. Does that make sense? Another big part of mutual funds is they have more fees. So oftentimes as a retail investor, we would prefer not to invest in a mutual fund because it has fees. And an ETF or exchange traded fund, because it's like a stock on a retail online brokerage platform, you can usually trade in it for free. It may have some minimal fees, but you don't have as many fees as a mutual fund. So those are the differences there. But same concept, you're investing in those group of companies together. So back to our story. Or we can point that way. Back to our story. So they created these exchange-traded funds. One of them, called the SPY, follows the S&P 500. Remember I told you about those ticker symbols? A ticker symbol is 3 or 4 letters to tell you what you're investing in. SPY is the ticker symbol for a really well-known exchange-traded fund that follows the S&P 500. And they're called SPDR indexes. So a company came along and said, you know what? we're not just going to create one exchange traded fund, we're going to create a ton of exchange traded funds. Matter of fact, we're going to create a fund that mimics each sector of the economy. So right here, if y'all pull that screen up big for me, that slide.
It's full screen.
Oh, good, good. Y'all can see it. So they now have an exchange traded fund that looks at all of the consumer discretionary companies, one that looks at consumer staples, one that looks at energy, one for financials, health, industrials, etc. So you now can actually invest in a fund that follows the overall market. Or the overall market's the S&P, but also sectors of the market too. So if you decided, you know what, I really like these weight loss drugs, and I think that the companies in healthcare are about to boom, there's an exchange traded fund for that, an ETF, where you could just invest in healthcare. Okay? So that's how exchange traded funds came together. Like, really, that's that. Now we're going to keep going. This next slide I'm going to skip because we want to push forward. But now, what is an ETF? We're going to go a little deeper. We are investing this week. Remember, Thursday we're placing our trade. Friday we're selling it. On Thursday we're investing in one of the indexes. So for you, you may say, Terry, I really enjoyed what you were saying about the S&P 500. I want to invest in those 500 companies. I'm going to put my money in SPY, the exchange traded fund for the S&P 500. And that's the stock that you'll buy on Thursday. Does that make sense? Like, that's where we're going with this, but I want to make sure that you're like understanding what you're doing. So exchange traded funds, we've talked about them already. Here are the ticker symbols. And the reason why we have this up here is the ETF.com, it'll actually show you ETFs for everything. And there's different brands of ETFs. So Sector Spiders, they created those ETFs that cover the sectors, but there's actually many companies that have the same weighting. Vanguard also has ETFs that cover these same sectors. So there's more than just one. You can find all of them on ETF.com. I'd say go in there, have fun, but don't get lost. I'm about to tell you the most popular ones right now. So you can have all the fun learning and going down a rabbit hole in ETF.com, but the ones that many people invest in are these for the indexes. For the Dow, a very popular one is ticker symbol DIA. This exchange traded fund, and I'll come over here a little bit. This exchange traded fund is going to follow the Dow Jones. So those 30 companies that we saw, that's what it's going to follow. Where should I look, y'all? Middle? Okay. So the Dow Jones is going to follow those 30 companies. If you want to invest in those, you are going to invest on Thursday in ticker symbol DIA for the Dow Jones. This exchange traded fund follows those 30 companies. Now, if you want to invest in technology, they follow about 100 companies in their weighting. So their circle would be similar, but they would have 100 tech companies around it, and then they would give a little bit of money to each one of those tech companies. If you wanted to invest in that one, the ticker symbol is QQQ. Again, don't forget the disclaimer on this. This is for educational purposes only. I'm not telling you what to invest in. This, like, you're going to have to take the trade on your own advice, but this is just for education. These are some of the most popular ones that follow these indexes. There are several others. Like one popular one is a Vanguard one, VOO. And actually, y'all can do that for homework. Look at the Vanguard versions of ETFs that follow these indexes. But these are some of the most popular ones that I personally like, so that's why I put them on the slide. Okay? We already talked about the sectors, so we can move forward here, but here are the ticker symbols for those sectors. And actually, let me take a minute. Raise of hands, would you appreciate me telling you the ticker symbols for the sectors? Let's spend a little time here, because you can't read it well, so I'll just point it out. And y'all can do side by side if you want to, but communication services, so this has, let me not touch the wall. Communication services, it has companies like cell phone companies in there. XLC, Consumer discretionary, XLY. Oftentimes, if people were investing in Tesla, it used to be a consumer discretionary company, people would invest in that one. Consumer staples, XLP. Energy, XLE. Anytime you see that the gas prices are fluctuating a lot, that means that there might be something going on with the gas companies like Chevron and ExxonMobil. Those things would also show up in energy, XLE. Financials, XLF, and then you guys can read the rest. One that I particularly like is healthcare, so XLV. So if you decide, like, you know what, I'm not yet, Terry, I'm not yet ready to invest in one company, but I do like this sector of companies, then you can also invest in an ETF. And these would be the ticker symbols for those sectors. Y'all get it? Give me a heart if you get it. And can I see them on the back screen real quick? Y'all get it? We got some hearts? Yeah? Y'all not talking to me. Y'all get it? Okay, I'm seeing the hearts now. Okay, good. Thank you. Is that Tradonna? Thank you for the thumbs up. Okay, good. All right, let's keep going. Now, last part of this is, oh, and I'm going way over. But this is important, right? Y'all want me to finish this lesson? Knocking? Okay, good. Okay, good. But y'all have got to hear Robert. Oh, my God, he's so amazing. I can't wait for y'all to hear his whole story. So, yeah, we're going to let you hear his whole story. I'll go a little faster. But the last part of this, and this is going to be your homework, actually, for going into tomorrow, is your homework is I want you to create a watch list, and I want you to actually put these tickers, these different indexes, into your watch list. So I know I just scared the heck out of some of y'all, and you were like, Terry, what is a watch list? How do I do that? What are you talking about? Yesterday's homework, show of hands, how many of you guys did yesterday's homework and you downloaded the CNBC onto your phone? Good. In CNBC, you actually can create a watch list, and you can add companies to it. On the computer, it looks a little bit like this. You might have done it on your cell phone, so you might see the buttons in a different place. But step one is, I'll look this way. Step one is you go to CNBC. You can do it in your app or on the computer. For some of you all, you may say, I actually would prefer to just do this on the computer. It's cnbc.com. That's the financial channel of the NBC network. In the corner on the side, actually, real white and blue. Up here where this dot is, it says watch list. You can click that watch list. And it'll ask you to create an account, but this is free. The account is free. You just put in your name and email address, but it's just so that it can track your personal watch list. So you'll create a watch list. So that's step two, create watch list. Then next step is it'll say create new. You want to press create new. And guys, sometimes technology changes. Just have a general sense of what you're looking for. The buttons might be slightly different. I think this is still the same. But if you do find like, well, I looked at the right-hand corner and it doesn't say watch list, keep looking. Somewhere on there it'll say watch list. But go to create new. Then I put in a name for it. So I named my watch list Take Your First Trade. You can name yours whatever you want to. I have another watch list I called it $300 a day because that's how much I needed to leave my job as an assistant principal was $300 a day. So I have a watch list that's $300 a day. But this is my Take Your First Trade watch list. Now I'm going to add a symbol. Let's go back to our blue. Come here, you're going to press add symbol, and then we're going to add the symbols we just discussed for the different indexes. So we're going to add right here, add symbol, and you press add. You'll see it, add symbol. We are going to add the SPY for the S&P 500. We're going to add the Dow, DIA, add QQQ, and then if you want to, you can add some of the sectors. My personal favorite, right now anyway, was the healthcare, so I added XLV. This is your homework tonight. I want you all to go build a watch list and add the indexes and maybe a sector that you like. XLE is also nice. Energy is doing well to the watch list. Now you might say, Terry, what's the benefit of doing this? So it'll look something like this. And these numbers are, there you'll see it on the slide. These numbers are old, so you'll see different numbers now, but this is, a good picture of what you'll see. Your question might be like, Terry, why do I need to create a watch list? What will happen is, now that you have this watch list, your phone will give you notifications anytime something big happens with those companies. So if something big happens with the Dow and maybe a new company is added or some company is kicked out, or maybe there's a huge, it goes up a lot or it goes down a lot, they'll send you a notification. That way you don't have to look at it all the time. Also, when you go into, when you click on the things in your watch list, it'll give you a lot more information. So it'll tell you, thank you for showing me that, it'll tell you how much, what was the last price of this ETF. Where it says after hours, that means that the stock price moved a little overnight. We can't trade that one. You're going to look at the close, or sometimes it'll say last. That tells you what was the last price that this was traded at. Volume, as a trader, I actually don't use volume very much, but it tells you how many shares were traded that day. Can you imagine? 63 million shares of this ETF were traded that day. The 52-week range, and I probably need some water, but the 52-week range, it tells you what was the lowest that it's been in the last year and what's the highest that it's been in the last year. Tomorrow, when we talk about brokerage accounts, we'll go a little deeper into this bottom chart area too. But the chart, what I basically want you to look at as a beginner, newbie, I want you to look at where has the chart been over. Thank you so much. Oh, thank you, Joey. You're the best. The chart is basically telling you where has this been over time. So if it's going up, you know that, okay, on average, the S&P goes up every year. Yeah, in 2020, it took a dip, like everything. But after that dip, it started going back up again. And then you're going to actually see that right now, it's at all-time highs. So this is a bit of an old chart, but you'll see when you do your homework and do this watch list and start clicking around that the S&P 500 is at all-time highs right now. So all the ups and downs that it's gone through over the years is now at all-time highs. Do we expect it to come down? Yeah, I think that it's not going to go straight up. And if it does come down, that'll give us more opportunities to get it at a better price. But right now, through all the ups and downs, it's on a current up, and we're excited about that. So that's your homework. Tonight, I want you to build that watch list out. I'm going to give some time to Robert. He is so great, y'all. I won't even no, I will, because I want him to come straight out. Let's have him come straight out. When I walk off the stage, y'all introduce Robert. We'll set up the stage and move my stuff out the way. But then y'all welcome Robert. The reason why I asked him to speak to you all, one is because he is just a joy. When you meet him today, I think you're going to just fall in love the way that I have. Also, Robert used to be in Broadway. And when you hear his story, I'm going to let him do his thing. But when you hear his story, I think that you're going to realize just how amazing he is, but also how amazing you are, and that we really can do anything. So thank you for your time today. Don't forget your homework. And I'll see the VIPs after Robert. All right, talk to you guys later. Actually, hold on a second. Let's clear the...
All right, now listen, this has been so good. When I tell you I was back there feverishly taking notes, I mean all the notes, because I told y'all I wanted to know about indexes. I told y'all yesterday. And listen, there are over 3,000 of you in here with us right now. I mean, I just need to know, what was your best takeaway? What was your best takeaway? Don't worry, we got her on the table, but I love the fact that y'all care so much about how we doing in this studio. Thank y'all. Thank y'all for that. Don't worry, we got her some help. But what was the biggest takeaway? Everything. The ETFs that we should consider. Don't worry, we got her. The history of the index. Yes, the index. That is what was most important for me. The breakdown. Yes, the sample of investing. I need you guys to know what we are learning here is beyond the 3 levels of investing. I realized tonight that I am not an active investor, but I am deciding to commit to myself to become an active investor. Okay, realizing I was buying stocks all wrong. I did too. That was a realization for me too. Yes, you can focus on a particular sector. One of the biggest things for me was in the beginning when we talked about the reasons why we need to become investors. What were some of the things that you all were focused on? I know for me, I love work. Anytime it is any work to do with foster youth or youth who are aging out of the foster care system, that is what I want to make sure I'm investing my money in. Yes, that CNBC watch list. I want you all, every person who did their homework and downloaded the CNBC app, let me see a reaction with those hands up because, yes, you did your homework. Yes, okay, Yvonne, I see those hands. Yes, 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 yes. Y'all, listen. Robert is about to, when I tell you, his story is beyond. His story is beyond. Yes, I see you, Tamika. I see you, Lindsay. I see you, Christy. I am going to get out of the way because the gift that we are about to be blessed with, you don't want to miss it. And for those who are not yet VIP, you still can become one so that after this session, you can come into that VIP session with us to ask him some questions on an intimate level. We're going to get all in his business tonight, too. So without further ado, y'all, Robert Hartwell.
Hello. How are you all? Oh my gosh, I feel so blessed to be here today. I am so grateful to my friend Terry for having me here, and I am so proud. And hey, Ingrid with an E, I see you, boo. It's good to see you. I'm just so grateful to my friend Terry for having me here, and I am so proud of each and every one of you for being here and for committing to yourself and to your legacy in this way, all right? So y'all, tonight we are going to be talking on the subject of you having a history. If you are with me on that, can you please put in the chat, I have a history? Can you put I have a history in the chat? And y'all, we're in South Carolina and I'm from North Carolina, so I am feeling very Southern, although I've lived in New York for 15 years now. Hey! All right, Nakia and Carintha and Ava and Yulisa and Angie and Brian, I love it. I love it. Let us get in. So here's the thing. I always say in my classroom, if you are going to be here, right? So turn your phone over, close out your other tabs. If you've got some food, y'all, put that food aside and focus yourselves for these next couple of minutes. And I am very, very Southern, all right? So we're going to do a lot of call and response. So if I ask you for a prompt, okay, put it in the chat. Can you just put it in the chat right now for me? Amen. Yes. So for those of you that do not know me, I am Robert Hartwell. I am an expert public speaking and storytelling coach. I have a 10-year career on Broadway, and I am also a director. I am also an Inc. 5000 list entrepreneur, and I am the host and executive producer of my own home renovation television show on the Oprah Winfrey Network and HGTV. So can y'all just give Oprah some love in the comments right now? Oh my God, this is so special to be here. Oh, this is so special to be here. So speaking of history, when I was 7, I told my mom that I wanted to be on Broadway. It is all that I wanted for my life. I literally ate, slept, breathed, dreamed. Every single thing was about Broadway, singing and dancing and acting, yes? And I want to ask you, what did you want to be? Let me know in the chat right now, what is it that you wanted to be? What did you want to be? What did you want to be, Pamela? What did you want to be, our niece? What did you want to be, Vivian? What did you want to be, Merle? What did you want to be, doctor, neurosurgeon, teacher, artist, jazz musician, an English teacher? Claire Huxtable, I know that's right. Hairstylist. Okay, here's my next question for each of you. Who told you no? Who told you no? Who said that's too audacious? Who said that's too much? Who was that person? Who is that person? Let me know. Well, here's what I want you all to know. You are in the most incredible hands this week with Terry and her team and all of the incredible speakers that are going to be here. And I just want you to know that we believe in you and we believe in your yes. And when I think of the yes in my life, I think of my mom and I think of my dad, two of the greatest mentors in my life. And neither of them knew anything about singing and dancing and acting, but they said, Rob Boy, listen. If you can commit to showing up to those lessons, if you can commit to showing up for that dream, we're going to show up for you. And so I went to high school for musical theater. I went to college for musical theater, and then I graduated, and I had the opportunity to move to New York City and have a 10-year career as a Broadway performer. And this picture right here is me as Waylon Joe in Memphis the Musical at the Shubert Theater. And what I want you to know is when you are a Broadway performer, it's probably like when you're a trader. Like you get that bug and you're like, okay, I did that first win, now I got that second, now I got that third. That's literally what happens on Broadway as well. So you get that first show, and I was so excited, and I was like, thank you, Lord, this is all I ever wanted. And then I got that second show, and I was like, oh, this is good. This feels so good, right? And then I got that third show, all right? Y'all put third show in the comments, okay? Put third show in the comments. 'Cause I'm going to tell you, for those of you that do not know, when you are a Broadway performer, I'm going to walk you through your schedule really quickly, right? So I love it. All that third show. I see y'all. So here's the thing. On Monday, you spend your day in physical therapy. On Tuesday, you have rehearsal and then a 7 p.m. show. On Wednesday, you have a 2 p.m. show and an 8 p.m. show. On Thursday, you have rehearsal in the afternoon and then an 8 p.m. show. On Friday, you have rehearsal in the afternoon and then you have an 8 p.m. show. On Saturday, you have a 2 p.m. show and an 8 p.m. show. On Sunday, you wake yourself up and you go to the house of worship and you pay your tithe, and then you have a 3 p.m. show, and then your body hurts, yes? So in my third Broadway show, I was doing a musical called Nice Work If You Can Get It. And from this video I'm going to show you, you can see that every single night, night after night after night, I was jumping into the splits every single night. Now this suit is way too cute for me to demonstrate that for you tonight, so that's why I brought you a video, okay? So in this video you could see that I was just every single night, 8 shows a week, doing this repetitive motion on my body, yes? And at the time I believe I was 26 or 27, and we woke up one Sunday morning, and it was Tony Awards Sunday, right? Now, for those of you that don't know anything about the Tony Awards are like the Super Bowl, okay, of theater. It is a huge, huge moment in your life, a huge moment in your career. And y'all, I literally, when I was a kid, I would wake up on Tony Sunday and it was like, everybody better be silent, okay? Because Rob Boy literally owns the living room today because it's Tony Awards Sunday. And this Tony Sunday, I woke up and I was so tired and my body hurt and my spirit felt broken. And I started to think about that 7-year-old boy, and I started to think, what would he be thinking right now if he knew that 20 years later your body was hurting and that you were just really needing a break, but you didn't feel that you could take one, right? So we go to the Tony Awards, we win amazing awards, and it is incredible. And then the next morning, I call my agent. And I said to my agent, I am hurting. My body hurts. My spirit hurts. I've been literally going nonstop from the moment that I graduated college. And the response was, you should be so grateful. You should be so grateful. Look how much you've worked. Look how much you've accomplished. I think what you need is to go on a national tour. The response, that's right. I see you, Aisha. Yes, that was my face too, friend. Aisha, yes, sis, that was my face too. I was like, I'm telling you right now in this moment that I am breaking my body 8 shows a week, and I've been doing this for all of these years. And right now, when I'm raising my hand and I am saying I need help, which black men so rarely raise our hands and say that we need help, the thing that you tell me is go work more. And so I said, okay, I guess I'll go out on this tour. So I went out on the national tour of Motown the Musical. I want to know right now, when y'all think of Motown, right? When you think of the Supremes, the Jackson 5, the Temptations, what's your favorite group? I want to know. I want to know. I want to know. So I just want you to know that I was a Temptation in the show, okay? And y'all, let me tell you, those suits, they were fly, all right? Listen, Diana, Jackson 5, the Temps, yes, I love it. I love it. We love to see it. So there was what I like to call a ram in the bush on that tour, okay? Because it was the first time in my career that I had a black director. I had never experienced that before in my Broadway career. And he said to us, he said, here's what I want you all to do. I want you to build something. Can you put in the chat right now, build something? He said, I want you to build something because the legacy that you stand on is that of Berry Gordy, right? And when we think of what Mr. Berry Gordy did in the 60s, bringing black and white people together and dancing, y'all, that was unheard of. That music had such political and social impact in a way that America had never seen before. I think in many ways, I'm standing here right now in South Carolina right now because of that music. I know you feel me, our niece, okay? That music had healing property, but our director, Charles Randolph Wright, said, make good on your time, yes? So while you're here, use the name of this legacy, right? And I'm telling you right now, you go catch it, because what I'm about to tie this thing back into is use these frameworks that Terry is giving you and to bet on yourself and build yourself a new legacy. Do you feel me? I know you do, Ingrid, and I see you, Tina, okay? Build something for yourself. That's why you're given a gift, right? Build, 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 right? So I went on Google. And on Google, I Googled, and y'all, I swear, I'm telling you the God's honest truth right now. I put Black Small Business Formation Attorney, okay? And let me tell you what came up. A woman's name by the name of Rachel Rogers Esquire. And I went on her website and I was like, ooh, I love her hair. And I was like, and I also just love the vibe. Like, she had YouTube videos. I was just so into her energy. And I knew that if I was going to build something, I wanted to do it the right way. All right, can we put the right way? Because I know sometimes we like to Band-Aid things together, but I wanted to have a firm foundation, okay? And so I wanted to have my contracts in place. I wanted to just make sure that I wasn't paying folks just through Venmo, but that I had an actual business account so that I could build something that one day I could give to my family. One day I could give to my kids and maybe their kids, right? And so this photo is actually from December 9th when I went to, I believe it was December 9th, 2017, where I went to Chase Bank with my Broadway Dance Collective legal kit, and I opened up the account and I sent Rachel this screenshot and I said, thank you. I said, I am just so, so grateful for this opportunity, right? And Tabitha Brown always says, look for the signs. Look for the signs. And as I was walking to the bank that morning, I started to think, I was like, December 9th, that is my Nana's birthday. That is such a special day. And what I really started to think about was, oh my goodness. I found out that I booked my Broadway debut on December 9th, 2010. And then I opened this business on December 9th. Yes, y'all, the signs are all around. The signs are all around. If you've seen any signs just in the last 2 days of you beginning this experience with Terry, can you just put I have? Can you just put I have in the chat? And Joey, can you do me a favor really quickly in the control room? Will you allow me to see the slides that are coming up next for me, just underneath? Yes, please. So what I did with Broadway Collective, and I'm going to show you this video, is I went across the country and I was teaching young people singing and dancing and acting, right? Because I was like, okay, what do I love to do? I love to perform. I love to work with young people. I love to not just work with young people, but figure out what fears do their parents have of them entering this industry, right? Very much so like you all right now entering your new identity as a trader, right? Oh, I'm ready, Joey. That's amazing. Thank you. So as you could see, we would go around the country and I would assemble all of these Broadway performers together and we would teach these young people singing and dancing and acting in all of these cities across the country. And then we would bring them into an online space and continue. Our niece, your face right now, she's like, are you really serious? Yes, I am so serious, right? But none of this would have happened if someone like Charles had not said, build something, just like Terry is asking us to do this week, right? So I want to ask you, what's the story that you've been telling yourself that has held you back from making that first trade? What is the story that you have been telling yourself that has held you back from making your first trade? Or, can I get really real for a minute? That held you back from saying yes to VIP? What is that story? Let me know. Can you let me know in the chat? Oh, that I'm too old for this, that I'm distracted, that I have lack of knowledge, that that I'm too confused, that I'm afraid of the cost, that I don't have enough money, the lack of knowledge, that I am not VIP, that it's too risky, I'm afraid that I won't follow through, that I don't have enough skill or knowledge, or that I don't understand, or the distractions. Here's what I want to tell you all. Every story about scarcity is a lie. I'm going to say it again. Sonia Renee Taylor said at the ROI Millionaire Summit last year, every story about scarcity is a lie. And this is what the patriarchy wants us to believe, yes? They want us to believe that you are not enough. They want you to believe that you do not have knowledge. They want you to believe that you are not worthy of being able to get these skills and get these tools. But I have good news for you. You are in the room, friend. Okay? You are in the room. So like I said at the beginning of this, if you're going to be in the room, be in the room. So I just want to encourage anyone right now that said, I don't have, I want you to know right now that every story about scarcity is a lie. And so if you are a person that is sitting in general admission, I want you to really consider, what could I do to exercise my courage right now and get in that VIP room? Because y'all, knowledge is power. This is how we make generational moves, right? We're always talking about, I want to break generational curses in my family. Well, you know what you need to do then? You need to move your feet in a new direction. You have to activate the breaking, okay? The blessing is activated by you doing something new. Can we put something new in the chat right now? Yes, Corolla, it is in the room. Yes? So let me tell you about something. When you get a dream, when that thing is deposited on you, I'm going to tell you right now, every single force that wants you to keep doing the same thing is going to come out. When I say with their big guns and with their pearly whites and with their jewels and with their crowns and try and keep you exactly where you are, I don't know if that's anybody. Has anybody experienced that? You ready to leave the relationship and then you want to act right? Sorry, I'm not trying to hurt no feelings today. I'm going back to New York in the morning. Do not worry. I'm just here for a few more minutes. But y'all, let me tell you, I was like, all right, I am going to go full in on entrepreneurship. Because much like the story that you all were saying about why you didn't feel you deserved to do this challenge, or why you are afraid to make this trade on Thursday, right? And let me tell y'all go do it. And you are in the best hands in the world, and you already know that, or you still want to be on this Zoom right now. But the story that I kept telling myself was, if I am not in a Broadway show, students nor parents will trust me to teach them singing and dancing and acting, right? Every story about scarcity is a lie. And what ended up happening is I was able to grow the company enough while I was still a Broadway performer, right? So I'm in my 5th Broadway show with Bette Midler in Hello Dolly, and I was having the time of my life, but y'all, something inside of me was just like, it's time to go. It is time to go. It is time to do something different. And just like Miss Tabitha said that we need to look at the signs, well, something I didn't tell you at the beginning is if you look at this picture, my first Broadway show was Memphis at the Shubert Theater. 7 shows later was Hello Dolly at the same theater, at the Shubert Theater. And while I was there, I got a message from my friend Susan Hyatt, and Susan said, I am throwing a tea party in New York City, and I would love for you to be there. And the first thought that I had was, one, it was on a Saturday, and y'all remember, I walked y'all through that Broadway schedule, okay? On Saturday, we have 2 shows at 2 p.m. and 8 p.m., and usually in between those 2 shows, I would get physical therapy. And then I saw the price tag for this tea party, okay? Can y'all please put expensive tea in the chat right now, okay? It was very expensive tea. And I was like, Susan Hyatt, why are we paying this much to sit and have tea with you, okay? But again, every story about scarcity is a lie. But what I really want you to know is that your breakthrough is connected to your obedience. I'm going to say it again. Your breakthrough is connected to your obedience. Something inside of me said, you need to be at that tea party, okay? You need to swipe that card because, you know, I'm going to tell you how I really got convicted. I'm just going to be honest with y'all. How I really got convicted is at the same time, Beyonce, Giselle Knowles Carter. I don't know if you have heard of her, but she released a pop-up concert at Rosewood Music Hall in New York City, okay? And the tickets went on sale. And when I tell y'all, I dropped my money so fast that day, okay? But I was having a hard time dropping my money for this business tea party where I was going to have the opportunity to network and meet with other entrepreneurs and possibly have the breakthrough that I needed to finally be obedient to the call on my life. So I got the ticket to the tea party. I sat at the tea party, and while I'm at the tea party, Susan asked one question. Why? Why? Why do you want this? And you're going to have a why. And my why is my mom, my single mom who raised me, who said, listen, I have never met or raised a young gay black boy in North Carolina, but you know what we gonna do? We gonna figure it out, and we're gonna lead with love, yes? And because of that, and because of that tea party, I was sitting there, y'all, sipping that very expensive tea, okay? But that's where I drafted my resignation letter to Broadway, okay? I finally had the courage in that moment to be obedient, right? But are you like connecting the dots that the obedience was connected to a sacrifice, that I had to actually invest and put something in so that I got something out, right? So here's what I want you to know though. When you lead with your why, I believe your life is filled with overflowing blessings. Yes, they are so big that they just pour out onto other people. And for me, the person that I've always wanted to bless and be the best in my life to is my mom. And I remember there was a moment right after I had shifted and left Broadway and went full-time into entrepreneurship, and my mom's car was faulting out. And I wanted to get my mom a car so bad. And so I called our accountant and I said, is there any way that I could get my mom a car? And she said, well, kind of walk me through what it is that you want to do. I said, I want to walk into a dealership and I want to pay for this car. I don't want her to have a car note. I don't want her to have to worry about anything. And she looked at me and she said, you've put in the work and you can do this. And so I just want to share with you really quickly the video of what happened on that day. Okay, we'll just go ahead and tell you. It's all paid for. That is a day that I will never forget. I will never forget that feeling of holding my mom in my arms and saying, "It's paid for. You don't have to worry." And this is why Terry does what she does, right? So that we can have those moments, Aisha, of you don't have to worry. You are taken care of, right? What trading is, this is a long-term strategy, friends. It's long-term protection, yes? It has generational impact, right? And here's the thing, too. I believe when other people see those kinds of blessings, they then want to be good to people in their lives as well. You have no idea what your faith in yourself in this moment will do for you, will do for your family, and will do for your community, yes? So we need to be intentional with the words that we speak over our lives, yes? So I'm going to ask you right now, on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being I am terrible at speaking intentionally over my life, or 10, I am the Dalai Lama when it comes to speaking over my life. Let me know right now, okay? Where are you? 6, 0, 2, 4, 7, 2, 3. Okay, all right. So we have some work to do. We're in the right place. So at the top of 2020, I started speaking this word, y'all. This thing downloaded on me in January of 2020, and I could not get that thing off of my spirit. I just kept saying, unprecedented, unprecedented. I'm going to have an unprecedented year of favor, an unprecedented year of success, an unprecedented year of blessings. And I was just journaling about that thing every single morning. And then we all know what happened in March. But let me tell you right now, when that thing happened, I kept saying, I was like, we will have favor in this famine, right? Because this is the thing, right? Just like what Terry is teaching you in trading, when you know that you have laid the foundation and when that portfolio is diversified, y'all, even when the famine comes, you will still have more than enough, right? This is why we're asking you to prepare in this season now, yes? So while all of the other musical theater education companies were closing their doors in 2020, we had an unprecedented year, and our company had 440% revenue growth and made number 1,106 on the Inc. 5000 list. Y'all, I'm telling you right now, when you say yes to yourself and you speak intentionally over the words over your life, you will see change. You will absolutely see change. But I'm going to tell you right now, when you speak the words intentionally and you believe them, you will start to see them. And I kept saying the word unprecedented, unprecedented. But what I really then began to experience in June of 2020 was unprecedented inequality. Unprecedented inequality. And in June of 2020, my Aunt Paulette was diagnosed with COVID. And many of you that are on this call right now are Black and brown people. We were the first people to be forgotten about, the first people that nobody wanted to respond to us. And this is a picture of my Aunt Paulette and I at my final Broadway performance of Hello Dolly. And I will never forget that Friday, that first Friday in June, when my stepmom called me and she said, "Rob boy, I am so sorry, but we lost Aunt Paulette." And I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it, and I couldn't believe especially because at the same time, I had friends that didn't look like me, that their friends and their aunts and their uncles were getting experimental treatments, and she was alone in a corner by herself. Do you feel me? This is why we have to say yes to ourselves and yes to this moment, friends, right? But what I do know is that pain can produce our greatest purpose, okay? Because in my grieving, my stepmom called me the next Saturday morning, and she said, "Oh, bless you, Saint." Thank you. She called me that next morning, and she said, "Rob," she said, "you got to get up. You got to get up." She said, "You got to open the curtains, babe." And she said, "You got to get out in the park. You got to get out in the park, and you got to go get some fresh air." She said, "Pick up a magazine and get out of your apartment." And I was so mad at my stepmom. I was so mad at her. I was like, that's the last thing that I want to do. And I listened because I'm Southern. And I went out into the park. I grabbed a House Beautiful magazine. And I sit in the park and I sit on this park bench and I'm looking and I'm thinking about my aunt and I'm flipping through this magazine and I saw this picture of this home. And this home was this beautiful white home with these beautiful pink shabby chic shutters on it. And it was the story of this family, the Novagrants family. They're a design family based in New York City. And they were talking about how in 9/11, they needed a sanctuary. They needed a place to get out of New York City. They needed a place to feel safe. I am a black gay man in America living in New York City in June of 2020. That thing, Jack McFarland, I see you, that thing hit, okay? I was like, I need a sanctuary property. So I'm looking and I'm reading more about this town that they bought this sanctuary property in, and it said Great Barrington, Massachusetts. So I pick up my cell phone and I go to one of my favorite apps, Zillow. Amen. Anybody else? And I open this app and I put in Great Barrington and I scroll, and the third house that I see, I said, that's my house. I said, that is my house. That was Saturday. I got in a zip car on Monday and I went to go look at that house. I put a bid in for that house the next day on Tuesday. On Juneteenth, that following Friday, I marched my happy self right on into Chase Bank and wired my $379,000, and I purchased my white house that went viral that you see right here. And that moment was an unprecedented moment of favor, of grace, and of, if I can just get real Southern for a moment, it was a Kairos blessing. I did not post this, like I don't know about y'all, but I don't wake up in the morning and say, I want to go viral today. Like today is the day that I want to break the internet. That's not how I wake up and approach my day. And if that's you, listen, live, live, live. But that was not my intention for the day, yes? But what I want you to know is that it's those moments that because you said yes earlier and you laid a foundation, you were able to make those moves. So many people said, how were you able to buy this home in cash? And I said, it started with that Google search of small business black formation attorney, right? Had that Google search not happened, and what I want to speak over your life right now is this is the same with this challenge, okay? There is going to be, Ingrid, some Kairos blessings that happen in your life simply because you came to this challenge and you said, you know what? I was going to put my money into this family vacation we were getting ready to have, but what would happen if I took that money and I invested it and did what Terry said, right? What if I actually got to trade and travel, right? That, friends, that's the family vacation that I want, okay? I don't know about you. Yes, Sandra, I see that that is for you, but that's the kind of family vacation that I want. And here's the thing. Sometimes you are going to get restless. I don't know if there's anybody out there that is restless in their career right now. Restless. Well, after I purchased the home, Broadway had been shut down for 18 months at that time. And parents and students were very tired of working towards this dream of a Broadway career to a industry that had been shut down for 18 months. And so I started to say to myself, it is time to dream a new dream, Hartwell. And so I started coaching entrepreneurs on storytelling because I would go to all of these marketing conferences and I would sit in the audience and I would see nobody that looked like us. I wouldn't see anybody that had our lived experience. I didn't see us, right? We are millionaires and we are billionaires as well, yes? But what was happening is that all of these folks that I knew in the audience had the skills, had everything that they needed. They didn't have the assets. They didn't have the assets to pitch themselves, right? Much like Terry just said and showed you on this table of how the S&P would work, they didn't have that framework. They didn't have it, right? So I said, yes, so I'm going to show you a quick video really quickly of me walking through what I do with our clients when it comes to storytelling. And you know what, Joey? You can just play it as I'm talking, my friend. And so, of course, so really what it was all about was finally connecting with people and giving them the tools, which is the same thing, friends, that you are doing this week, right? If you want to be on a stage, you need a speaker reel, right? If you want to be a trader, you need to know all of the things that Terry is talking about this week, yes? And y'all, I want you to know that tomorrow you are going to get the opportunity to meet my best friend, Rachel Rogers. And here's a picture of her and I in front of the house. But I want to tell y'all a quick story really quickly. So this is Rachel right before I started filming the television show, right? So it has been like a 4-year journey. So when Terry asked me, hey, Robert, would you come and be with my community? I was like, first off, Terry, anybody would do anything for you because you are the sweetest, most kind, most courageous woman that any of us know. Y'all, like, can we just give Terry some love in the comments right now? Because that woman, okay, listen, she does the thing. But y'all, what I want you to know is that my best friend, and you will learn and see this tomorrow night, she does not have a poker face, okay? She does not have a poker face, right? And especially for an attorney, it kind of makes me laugh. But what I'm really talking about is when you have a vision, it's your vision. And it's your responsibility to carry it out, right? So I'm sure that there are people right now in your family, in your circle that are looking at you and asking, what are you doing for 2 to 3 hours every single night this week? What are you doing on Zoom? Trading? Oh, that must be fake. That must be a scam, right? And can we actually just talk about that for a second, y'all? Everybody out here calling everything a scam. What did I say earlier? Broke people like to make everybody else stay broke, okay? And I don't want that for y'all, okay? So keep doing what you're doing. Keep rolling up on your miracles and keep learning what you got to learn to get to the next level, okay? All right, that's all I'm going to say about that. But let me talk about this vision. So I'm telling Rachel outside, I'm like, okay, one of my favorite rooms in the house is going to be a dance studio. And Rachel's like, okay, I'm ready to see it. Let's go in, let's go in. So this is the video that I showed Rachel. Well, actually, this is what she saw when she walked in. This is the dance studio before. So, please look. You see a dance studio, right? It's beautiful, right? Susan Jenkins, don't do me like this, friend. You've been with me all night, and then you played me, okay? And then you played me. But y'all, here's the thing. I saw a dance studio, right? As we look at this picture right here, like, yes, do you just look at it and you see nothing but rubble on the floor? Yes, but here's the thing. You have to see yourself in the future. You have to see your portfolio in the future. It's not Terry's job to see your portfolio in the future. It's your job to see yourself in the future, right? So as people are going to, like I said, when you start to take on this new identity, people are going to roll up on you and have their thoughts and have their opinions, but it is all based on their fear of stepping into what they are supposed to be doing in life, right? But as for all of us, what we're going to do out here is we're going to keep rolling up on what we know to be true about our lives, yes? Earlier this year, Ivy McGregor said at ROI, the Millionaire Summit, big ships turn slow. And I'm going to tell y'all right now, if you are feeling like your situation right now is moving slow in your life, what if I invited the thought that you are a big ship? What if I invited the thought that you are a big ship, right? I'm going to say it again. What if we invited the idea that we are a big ship? Because I know that sooner or later, if you stay consistent, there will be a turn in your favor, yes? So, what I want you to think of for a moment and remember is that you have a history, right? You have a history. So, over this 4-year process of renovating this home and filming it for Oprah and HGTV, I was tested, right? And I remember my dad saying to me, Rob, boy, don't you ever forget where you come from, right? Don't you ever forget where you come from. So one day, our director, he called me and he said, hey, Rob, tomorrow morning we're hopping on a plane. I can't tell you where we're going, but come with me. And I was like, okay. So I packed a bag. He told me to wear warm clothes. And they dropped me off in this picture that you can see in this field. And I'm sitting in this, as you can see in this picture, on this field. And the director asked me, he said, what do you feel? What do you see? And I said, I feel a peace here. I feel there's something about I feel a belonging. It feels spiritual. And he said, do you know where you are? And I said, no. And he said, well, right now we're in Dinwiddie County, Virginia. And Dinwiddie County, it started to ring a bell, and he said, and where specifically we are is Hartwell Plantation. Hartwell Plantation in Dinwiddie County, Virginia. And he said, in this paper that I want to hand you, if you can see at the top of it, it says slave inhabitants. This is the land that your great-great-grandfather was born into slavery. This is the land where your great-great-grandfather was emancipated and went on literally just a few blocks down the road to marry your great-great-grandmother, and then to have your great-grandfather, and then to have your grandfather, and then it was your grandfather who was an entrepreneur and said to his family, hey, let's do something different, and they moved upstate, up north to New York, right? So in these moments where you are feeling like you don't know how you're going to keep going, you need to bend your knees and you need to remember, as my pastor likes to say, you have survivor's DNA, okay? You have survivor's DNA. For those of us that our ancestors went through the Middle Passage and experienced the most horrific tragedy ever, you have a responsibility. You have a responsibility to that legacy, right? So in this moment where you're like, I'm shook about VIP, you have a responsibility. Don't you get shook over a couple of $100. Do you understand? What would have happened if they would have got shook? You nor I would be here. You see these chains on this suit? They would be chains on my hands and chains on my feet because somebody had the audacity to believe that they have survivor's DNA. And that's what I need you all to do as you move through this challenge, and especially on Thursday when you make that free trade. If you're with me, can you just put survivor's DNA in the chat with me, please? Thank you very much. So I just came by really quick just to let you know that you are not finished. I'm going to say it again. You are not finished. I love you so dearly, but you don't get any points for showing up. Okay? You don't get any points for showing up. This is the beginning of the journey. Am I so proud of you? Yes. Is Terry and all of the speakers, are we so proud? Oh my gosh, yes. But you are not finished. Yes? And what I want you to do is to take another step. I want you to take another step every single day this week. When Terry gives you that homework, do the homework. Be a finisher, okay? Put in the chat right now, I am a finisher, right? So many of you were saying all of the things that are feeling like they're holding you back. You need to start every single day of this challenge with I am a finisher. I am victorious. I am a winner. And the first assignment that Terry asked you all to do today when she opened the curtains and opened the classroom, she said, repeat that statement with me. And the number of you that I saw that would not move your mouths. You wouldn't move your mouth. you have got to get your body in agreement with what you are stepping into. This new identity requires your voce, your voice, right? And the moment that your ears start to hear who I am and what it is that I have the ability to do, that's when you will start to see change. That's when you will start to see returns. If you're tracking with me, can you just put tracking, okay? So here's what I want you to know, my loves, is that Rachel said to me as we were finishing the renovation, we don't give each other permission to play big. We don't give each other permission to play big. And you know why? It all comes back to the programming through the Middle Passage, the programming on a plantation, yes? And if you are a person and your lineage did not go through what my lineage went through, I'm sure somebody in your family went through something, yes? But what I want you to know is that because we have breath in our body and because we have this time, you must play big. You must see big. You must speak big, yes? And so I want to just look really quickly back over what that dance studio looks like before. Can we just look at that video really quick, Joey, of what that studio looks like before? The rubble. The rubble, okay? But here's what I want you to know. When every day, when everyone counts you out, you continue to take another step. Can you put another step in the chat for me? Just put another step in the chat. What you get to see is your after. Joey, show them what we're working with now.
I see you smiling. Ah. That's nice.
But here's my favorite thing. And Joey, on this next video, if we can make sure that it's vertical when it plays, I would be so grateful. So here's the thing, y'all. Am I so oh, y'all are so sweet, amazing, stunning. The vision lives. Yes, but here's the thing. It is so that we can all dance together and we can inspire this next generation. So over the holidays, Rachel and her kids got the opportunity to come over to the house, and they were like, Uncle Robert, we've been hearing about this house for years. We're ready to see it. We want to see this studio. And I want to just show y'all this video. It makes me so happy. And they're cueing the video now. And Joey, you just play it whenever. But this is why we do the work that we do, right? Because when the young people in our lives see us declaring big and moving big, just think about the generational impact that that's going to have on their children and their children, yes? Joey, how we doing? You good on the video? Oh, you want me to change the slide? So I want to show y'all this video. Oh, if y'all were ever wondering if we're live, baby, we are about as live can be, okay? So I'm going to show you this video. So remember I was telling y'all about my friend Susan's tea party those years ago? Well, last weekend, I finally had the opportunity to host my own tea party in my dance studio at my home. And as I sat there with those entrepreneurs, I told them the story of how I, like so many of you, was so shook to do a new thing. And I am so glad that I invested in that tea party. And I got to welcome people into our doors of that home and spread love, right? And so the best part, though, was that standing in the corner was my why right there, my mom just looking on and just cheering. And, you know, I just want y'all to know that I know we haven't physically met each other, but after having spent this time, I just want you to know that all of us here at the studio right now, we are in the corner right now for you, and we are cheering for you, and we are saying, yes, you can. Yes, you can. And I want to ask you right now, what door are you ready to walk through? What door are you ready to walk through? As you look at those dance studio doors, I want to know in the chat right now, what door are you ready to walk through? Somebody said freedom. Every door. She's beautiful. She is beautiful. Retirement. All of them. Another step. All of them. Yes. Y'all, I just want to say thank you for the opportunity to share with you and to be with you tonight. You all just have such beautiful energy. Ingrid and Hope and Earl and Darlene and Rhonda and Hope, just thank you all so much for this time. And as you go through this week and as you step into that new identity of I am a trader, okay? What I need you to remember when you start to feel like, ooh, I don't know, you have a history, okay? You have a history, and don't you forget it. Thank you all so much.
I don't think you understand. Listen, I thought I was finished taking notes. I was not finished. First of all, you got me when you said build something. Because for so many people, you forget that you can build something.
Yeah.
You can build something and you can pivot. And even if you move slow progress is still progress.
Yes,
because
it
what?
is.
Big ships. What you say
They
do?
turn slow.
They turn real
Okay.
slow. The real slow. I want you guys to put big ship, okay? The big ship, not the little one. The big ship
Yes.
in, there we go. Yes, Pamela. Yes, big ship. This evening, you gave us a gift. And I am so grateful for that gift that you gave us. And as you were speaking, you talked about the news story. And so for every single person, as we are about to head to the VIP section, I want to first of all give you time for the big ships to make sure you are in this VIP session. But I want to find out from you all in the chat, what is the news story that you are going to tell yourself? Because it is not what people say about you. It is about what you believe and what you agree to. So now that we are all big ships, what is the news story that we're telling ourselves? Listen, y'all
Hey,
are already
I am
on
a
it.
trader.
I am a trader.
I can do anything. Yes.
Yes. My purpose is clear. I can do it. I am a trader. I can do this and everything. I am creating a legacy. I will commit. I am more than able. I am an investor. Everything you say after I am creates.
Yes.
Everything. And I saw some people earlier when they said the story they tell themselves, some people were a 1. Tonight, we're not telling ourselves we're a 1 anymore. We are a 10 because we are big ships.
Come on.
We are big ships. Now, listen, we are going to, now, if you have not already become a VIP, I want to make sure you are in there. That intimate area, that intimate experience is something you do not want to miss. So now, as we are saying goodbye, to see you all
Can
another
I just
night.
say something really
Of
quickly?
course you can.
Y'all, there is something about being in a virtual space when you can see someone's face, okay?
Yes.
And there is something about that energetic exchange. And although I have never met Ingrid Washington in my life, I will never get her face out of my head. Like, you will be in my journal in the morning. You truly will, right? And this is why we want you to come into this VIP room, because something we're going to be talking about tonight is our net worth being connected to our network and the people that we know and the people that we're in communion with and the people that we're able to say, hey, I've got a question for you, right? It's in this VIP space that we get to have those conversations. So the learning is not stopping tonight, nor the rest of the week. And the nuggets,
The nuggets.
the nuggets are happening tonight. So we
The
want
nuggets
y'all
are
to
nuggeting.
come. Yeah. The Nuggets are
The
nuggeting.
Nuggets are nuggeting. You guys have to be there, okay? Because we want you to get these good nuggets. You get to ask your questions, and if you joined us last night, you know I ask the questions, okay? Yes, Ingrid with an E. I see you, girl. But no, we want to make sure you are there. So now, for all those who are our general admission folks, you all can go ahead and drop off. If you are VIP, do not move. Don't move. Do not log off. We do not want to see any messages about you having issues because you are going to be a little baby who's going to listen, and you are going to stay in the room, okay? The big ship, we need you to stay still.
Docked.
Okay? We're going to
Docked.
dock. We're going to put the anchor down, and we are not moving. We will see you shortly. We're going to give us a little 5-minute look. Okay, all right, how we?
Hey.
Oh,
Get it, Terry.
yes. See you in the VIP.
Hey everybody, welcome back. Welcome back for the VIP section. Did y'all have a good time tonight? Did y'all learn a lot from me teaching and then get inspired by Robert? Okay, good. I'm seeing lots of yeses. Macrina says, yes. I love it. And then also, before we get started tonight, I do want to apologize. I know that some of you all didn't receive your links last night, so I thank you so much for showing up tonight. And then I also know that some of you all had issues getting kicked out of general admission and then not being able to get back into VIP. So I thank you all. This is our first time doing this, and you know, there's always something going to happen with the first time, but I appreciate you guys being just so flexible and patient and persistent, which is part of our criteria, right? We're proactive, we're persistent, we're positive. So thank you all, and I do want to just apologize for the difficulty last night, but I'm so glad to see you here today. So let's crush it.
Yes. Now, remember, just like last night, I'm going to ask a question, and then I'm going to be tapping into the questions in the chat. If I miss your questions, I need you to give me some grace. I promise I will get to your question, even if you have to copy and paste it again. I want to ask your question just as much as I know you want the answer. So help me help us, okay? I'm going to ask a question, then I'm going to ask one of the questions in the chat. Ask as many as you want. This is your time. This is your space. Own this, and remember to be here now. And yes, Pamela, I already see you said to
Yes.
please confirm the
I
3
can do
levels of
that.
investment.
Want me to go?
Yes, yes.
All right, so these are the 3 levels that I see as a person that invests in the stock market. 3 levels of investment. The first one is savings accounts. Right now, if you put your money in a high yield savings account, you can get about 4 to 5% just on your cash being in the account. I think that's step 1. Move it from your checking account to a high yield savings account. Nothing's going to happen to it, but now you'll earn interest. First step. Second step is the more passive investing. And there's several ways to do passive investing. Some people like to do indexes, which is what we're teaching this week. Those average about 8 to 10%. Some people might even do passive investing in real estate, where you buy a house and then you maybe get your rent. You don't have to think about it too much. That's passive. But in stocks, the best way that we see is invest in those index funds. They average about 8 to 10% return a year. Then active investing is when you're getting in and out of stocks. Anything less than a year. So I could buy something in January, sell it in November. I'm still considered an active investor or a trader. That usually can give you a higher return. And those people often, which is me, those people are me.
It's me.
They are me. We can sometimes beat that 8 to 10% return, and then also we're often trading for income. When I first started, I told you guys I needed to make $300 a day as assistant principal of an elementary school. I just needed to replace my income. Some people need to do it for a side hustle. Other people just want to do it for a goal. But you can actively invest for income at that level.
Ooh, see, listen, this is why you want to make sure you are in the VIP. Do y'all see we haven't even gotten started good yet, and we are already with all the gems. I mean, all the gems. So yes, don't forget, I do see your questions. I promise we're gonna get to them. But now before we hop into more of the questions in the chat, Robert, I wanted to ask you, because what we're doing in this entire experience, Terry, and exactly what you've created for us is you are giving us an opportunity to completely transform our network. It's a complete transformation. And so it's often said that your network determines your net worth. That going that 6 months to where you were already at 7 figures, your network shifted. And so when you're changing your life, many times it does mean changing that network, and that can be scary, and there can also be a level of grief that comes with it. Saying goodbye and transitioning can be scary and can be painful. So what are some ways that you suggest that we deal with the grief that comes when we are building a tribe that better aligns with who we are becoming?
Ooh, that's
Deep, I
good.
know.
Wow. Okay. So the first thing that I would say is when it comes to aligning yourself with people is to trust yourself, right? Like to trust that new identity that you are taking on. Like for instance, Rachel, who you all will meet tomorrow night, when that post went viral on my house on Instagram, Rachel called me that night and she said, "Hey, you need to pitch this as a TV show." Right? So it was that friend, then coupled with my friend Divine Joy Randolph, who just won the Academy Award a couple of weeks ago for her work,
Congratulations.
that said, "Hey, put this thing together." And so we stayed up all night and made that pitch. And that's why it turned into a TV show, right? But here's what's interesting. Speaking of grieving that identity, I had at that point, I think maybe like 3,000 Instagram followers, and they were all mainly like my friends and my family and people that I had met through Broadway.
Yes.
And then overnight, it's like you are now a public figure, right?
Yes.
And that can be scary. And for me, that was very scary. So part of grieving is being gentle on yourself, you know, and like just being like, "Hey, I'm new to this." It's like, you know, especially those of us, I don't come from money. When you finally do step into a space where you are experiencing wealth for the first time, there's a grieving process. And I think the biggest thing is trust your circle. Also trust when you know that there are people in your circle that are not coming to the new circle. You know, that they're just not coming because they're going to be those people that are like, "What are you doing?"
Right. You don't need to do this. Are you sure you want to do that?
Yes, I am.
Right.
Yes, I'm very
Yeah.
sure.
Yes,
You
I
know.
Yep.
So I think being gentle on ourselves, trusting the people, but also trusting when someone has served their time because you've served your time, right? You're like, "Okay,
Yes.
I did that thing.
Yeah.
I'm good.
Yeah, yeah.
Time for the next."
It is time for the next, and the next is okay.
Yeah.
Giving yourself permission to say next, giving yourself permission to pivot. Like when you were in Memphis, and it was like, okay, it's time. Seven's the number of completion anyway. It's time, and that's okay. Even when it was time for you to transition because you were tired crying in the bathroom.
Listen.
Yeah. I had to transition.
Yeah.
Even now, I think part of it is transitioning from being a girl who grew up with a single mom and grandmother and everything was on clearance to a girl with money in her account. Like there's like a shift even from scarcity mindset on that.
Yes.
Because for me, everything was buy it on sale, wait for it to come down. There's no need for access.
Yeah.
Yes.
But now it's like, no, Terry, get what you want, live into what you want. You can afford it. That's like a completely different mindset.
Yes, for me, and this is going to sound really minor, but for me, it was buying groceries.
Yeah.
We were always
That is not
hungry
minor.
growing up.
Right? That was
That is
my
not
mom's
minor.
had the same story. Yeah.
For me, it was buying groceries. When I was growing up, we were always hungry. I mean, always hungry. There was never enough food. And so even now with my daughter, I have to remind myself, hey, she can eat. It's okay for her to eat as much as she wants within reason, okay? within reason. But it's okay for her to you can get the brand name honey. We don't have to just do the honey that's not the organic one because I prefer the little organic one.
Listen, we love it.
But you can buy groceries.
Yeah.
That shift in that mindset is phenomenal. So now, okay, we're gonna go back to the chat.
And let me do this real quick. I'm gonna take over. Y'all, we're
Yes.
gonna do a popcorn because I see so many questions coming through.
Yes.
I'm gonna try to answer as many as I can, and I'm gonna talk fast, but I'm gonna try to answer as
Yes.
many as I can. So Tamika, are we gonna be learning day trading or just ETFs? This week you're just learning ETFs. We're doing passive investing this week. You're gonna make that 8 to 10% return.
Copy and paste,
Most-
y'all. Get those questions back in there. Copy and paste. I told
Yeah.
y'all to be ready.
Most indexes require 3,000 or more. I think that to start, is that true for all? No, not at all. This week, the SPY I told you about, it costs about $500. The Dow, it costs about 380 something. So no, you can actually invest in everything we talk about this week. You could buy a share for less than 500. So you don't have to worry about 3,000.
Please explain again why we cannot buy an index but must buy funds.
Okay, indexes is a statistical average. Remember I told you that some statistics guys got with a publisher guy, and they just wanted to create that index so that they could tell people how the market was doing. In order to actually invest in that and follow those same companies, you have to do it through a fund. The fund can trade in the stock exchange. The index can't trade. It's just a statistical number. What did you have to change to professionally trade? Literally, I just had to check a box that I'm professional now. I was doing the same thing when I was a teacher and educator and just a personal trader as I do now as a professional. Now I just trade for an LLC. If I don't already have a brokerage account, will I be able to set up in time enough to trade? Yes, tomorrow we're going to be working on your brokerage account. That's your homework. Do these trading principles apply to trading cryptocurrency? Somewhat. When we talk about charting in the bigger trade and travel course, then you can use those charts to look at the data for crypto. It helped me to get out at 66,000, and now we're back at 66,000. But I had traded some crypto. I looked at charts and was able to get out at a high before it dropped back down. So, opening account from Nairobi, Kenya, or will I use my Canadian status? Probably use your Canadian status, and there's some brokers in Canada that are really good. What brokers do you suggest come tomorrow? That's literally what we're covering tomorrow on Wednesday. Do you recommend maxing out IRAs? If you have the funds, do it because you can make more return.
Do we have EFTs
Does
for AI?
Okay, I'll come back to that one. Does this info, is this, I think your question, Cassandra, is this info usable for 401ks? No, 401ks are usually managed by someone else. But if you have a self-directed IRA, then most 401ks, or many 401ks, are investing in the same indexes that we're teaching you this week. How much will you need? Again, you can do this with less than 500 this week, but you also can do it for free in the simulator. I'll answer a couple more, then we'll go back to the chat. I just want to make sure we get through. Can you trade internationally? Yes. Our replay is available tomorrow. So we're in a live studio, and it takes some time for them to get the replays done, but they will be available. For us to buy this week, how much will we need? We covered that already. How can I watch yesterday's Zoom? Actually, as a gift, we because so many people had technical difficulties, we uploaded it to YouTube. Go to Trade and Travel on YouTube, and you'll see the replay from yesterday. We're also going to put it inside of a nice little course for you all as VIPs. All right, we'll keep going.
Okay.
I mean, can we just give it up for Terry
Yes,
because
that's
that's who I want to learn from, okay?
Listen.
A teacher's teacher,
Oh,
okay?
hey.
Listen.
gonna make sure you get this good information.
Right. I'm like, you guys had questions. Wait, somebody else asked about an IPO real quick. But I don't see the question anymore. Like, it's going super fast.
Whoever put it in the question about the IPO, add that again. And then I believe it might be Crystal or Christy. Forgive me if I am not pronouncing your name right.
Safra said, is the IPO where you buy the original stock shares? The IPO is where it's initial public offering. It's when the company decides to start selling shares to the public. And it's the first day that you'll be able to access shares of that company. Honestly, as a trader, I would say do not buy that day. What usually happens is the stock price will run up because of all the investors who had it before it went public. Those prices, because with supply and demand, right? All those buyers will run the price up. But then right after that, it'll crash down. Get it after the crash. So if you know a company that's going to come onto the stock market and start selling publicly soon, wait a little bit and then buy. Okay.
Love it. Love it, love it. And then there was a question in there, and you had already told us that we're going to buy our first trade on Thursday, and then we're going to sell it on Friday. Now, there was a question, and I believe it was Cindy. She asked it multiple times. So I want to make sure I ask it. She said, will we make money on this first trade?
Yes, great question. I remember that coming through. So the indexes move every single day. I don't know how it will move on Thursday, but we will see that when we take our trade because we'll invest, it'll move Friday, and then by the time the day ends on Friday, we'll sell and we'll see how much money we made or lost because we don't know if it went up or down, but at least we will see some movement within that day.
Yes.
This is so cool.
Okay, it's
This
a
is
live
so
and living
cool. I'm
color
like-
learning. We are learning and implementing immediately. I like this. Learn, implement, execute. Now go back and learn some more.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. So then now, Terry, there were a number of questions that I saw, especially yesterday, about things like our pension and Social Security and all those things. Those are some tools that may or may not be around for us when we are ready. And so you started early with knowing, okay, I need to replace this $300 a day that I'm making to be able to live off of. So what do you believe are some more like specific financial tools that we can begin to implement so that we're taking whatever that number is and then actually hitting that number as we are learning more and doing more? What is that? Like, what are some tools that
Yeah.
you suggest?
Honestly, you're here now.
Yeah.
If you're trying to hit a goal or start building your wealth, I think tools that I suggest is in this class tomorrow we're about to open a brokerage account. Friday to Thursday we're gonna buy a stock, and Friday we're gonna sell it. Learn that, and then someone asked too. When I was trying to make $300 a day, was I active or passive? I've always been active my last 14 years of trading. So I get in and out of stocks for income. This is actually new to me. Like indexes, what I'm teaching you guys is not even in our trade and travel course because it wasn't something that I taught my students. I taught them what I did, which was invest in stocks. So I think that now it is part of my portfolio. My bigger portfolio is in the S&P and in several of the indexes. But no, I've always been an active trader. I think you can do both.
Can I add something here? So I've been seeing a lot of people asking about different apps and different things and what steps should I take. This is the step because I think so many times, again, it comes back to scarcity, right? That, oh, I need to do this thing, but then I need to do. No. We have to start committing to a plan and a process.
Yes.
And we need to do it for a long bit of time, right?
Yeah.
Because we're so used to, because of how social media has trained us, that we need to have this instant gratification, this instant dopamine hit, right? Y'all, learn, implement, execute, and come back and learn some more.
Come back and
right?
learn some more.
Because this is the table you want to be supping at. Okay,
Yes.
as we were, friends.
And
Thank
then
you.
For Genevieve, I see it. I know you have asked 12 times. Remember, because this is a live experience, we do need just a wee bit of time. We are super, but not superhuman. Okay? Superhumans, but not superhuman. So give us a moment. I promise you we will have the replay for you, but maybe not in an hour.
Can I run through some of these
You
again?
absolutely can. Let's popcorn it on out.
Someone said, give us an example of a stock that you traded in a day. I invested in Amazon and made over $1.8 million in a day. Can you explain capital gains tax or short-term tax? Yes, tax day was yesterday. If you trade as an active investor, it's treated like income, like a side hustle or a job. And then however much money you make as a general income, that level is your tax level. So it's treated the same way as your job. And I know y'all are probably still stuck on the 1.8.
We are.
I was like,
and is. Mhm.
But yes, like that's what I do. Then are you putting companies into your individual companies into your watch list? Yes. I have about 30 companies that I've been trading for a while. Pretty much my 14 years. There's been about 30 or so companies that I've been trading and watching for a long time. And that watch list is in trade and travel.
And they want to get in a little bit of your business. How much did you risk to earn that 1.8 million in a day from Amazon? I was just gonna ask it as a just in case for y'all. For y'all.
Enough. There was
I know that's right. As Miss Tab would say, that's my business.
My business.
but no, it was a lot less than you think. Like it wasn't. Yeah, like, same. I just showed y'all Disney, and I put in 300,000, and now it's worth over $1 million. It was similar.
There was someone who asked about the company. It's called Splash, I believe they said. Correct me if I'm wrong. They wanted to know if they buy it on that platform. Is that okay? That and Robinhood. Stash.
Guys, I want you guys to remember we're teaching this over 5 days.
Tomorrow.
So tomorrow's the day for that question. I'm gonna literally show you which brokerage accounts.
Yes. Remember that patience thing? I promise you, because you don't want to overload yourself so much that you choke on the information. It's okay. You're coming back, I promise. We're going to be here tomorrow and the day after and the day after. So now,
Okay.
this one, because we're going to hop back in. I told y'all, we hop in and out, in and out, in and out. So now, oftentimes people see the glory but not the story. And you took us through, just a beautiful walk down what your story was, from starting at 7, telling your mother and your father that you are going to be on Broadway, to then being on Broadway and realizing, maybe I have a bigger dream too that I also want to tap into. So how would you suggest that we start to reframe the stories that do need to be reframed so that we can maintain our sense of worthiness and our sense of purpose when we experience those challenges and those necessary needs for changes and transitions? Like, how do you do that? What's that process like?
I think the biggest thing for all of us right now is to cut the drama.
Yeah.
Is to cut the drama. We are so committed to making it hard for ourselves, right? I see it in this chat right now. Terry sets up a classroom and says, this is the lesson for today. And then we start asking questions about a lesson that's not on the chalkboard for today, right? So I think really how the best way to, one, start to shift that identity and start to say yes to that new dream is to release that old behavior of, I have to have it all right now. And that this one step is more than enough. Simply downloading the app that she asked you to download yesterday was more than enough, right? And I think when we do that and when we take our time with these things, we're showing the universe that I'm going to be a good, consistent steward. I'm not just in here for this quick win, this quick buck, because this is not what this is. You just heard how many years she's been doing this. It's a long game strategy, right? And I think that when we show the universe that, she's like, oh, you're ready. You're ready. So I think it's cutting the drama, and it is just taking it step by step.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I always say the best way to eat an elephant is a piece at a time. But if you try and swallow the elephant whole, even if you have the capacity to eventually consume that entire elephant, because you tried to do it all at once, you're going to choke.
Yeah.
You're going to choke, and then you're going to give up because you're like, oh, no, clearly I can't do this. And it wasn't that you couldn't do it, it's that you tried to rush through your process.
Yes.
So now there was someone who asked the question in the chat, because again, we're going back and forth, back and forth. How long did it take you before you were making that $300 a day, which is what you needed to be able to supplement before you
Yeah.
could quit?
So the first 6 years of my investing, I was trying to do it by myself. And I was mostly losing. Like, I'd make a little bit, and then I would lose a lot. And I'd make a little bit because I didn't really know what I was doing.
Yeah.
Then once I got serious, it was the year I was assistant principal, I practiced and took classes. I had like a big class. I took that class. It cost me $30,000 for that class. As a teacher, I put it on a credit card because I didn't have that kind of money.
Making
But I knew
investment.
what I wanted, right? It took me the rest of that year to practice. By the end of that school year, I felt comfortable. So I often tell people it's not hard to learn, but give yourself at least a year to start seeing consistency, because the stock market moves so much. Like what we do today is going to look different than what we do in December, what the market looks like. And then even after that, like I still learn. I keep learning, and mostly it's mental. Once you're a trader, like you got to learn how to be disciplined. You have to learn how to have patience. You have to learn how to follow a plan. That's all mental work that you have to work on. So
Which is like literally what this is why I think this week is so brilliant, because you're teaching us the practice. Like even this idea of a lot of people were saying earlier, I don't have the time.
Yeah.
Well, at the end of this week, you will have shown yourself that you are capable of showing up for 3 hours
You are
a day
capable.
yeah.
to this practice, to this thing. So it's like, yes, you can, friend.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you for
So
that.
true.
Yes, you
So
can.
true.
That is incredibly powerful too, because the promises you keep to yourself are the ones that make you the most proud.
Yeah.
So that showing up, that asking questions, like this question that just came in, what currency will you need for tomorrow?
Currency?
What currency will you need for tomorrow? Juliana, I wanted to make
We're-
sure we got that question in.
We're taking the trade on Thursday, but most of the brokerage accounts I show you are in US dollars. And then we're going to work on a simulator as well that you can do paper money.
And then there was a good one in here. So how do we decipher between what are the stocks that are good to invest in for a day versus the ones that are good for long term? So like swing investing.
I would teach you in the bigger course things to do for a stock. But remember, this week we're working on indexes, so it's a bucket of stocks. So let's maybe stay here on indexes for this week.
Yes.
And then we can move forward to individual stocks.
Absolutely. And you just said something too, and it reminded me of a question that was in the chat. There was a woman who said, okay, so after Friday, how do I continue to gain access to you?
Ah, nice.
She wants to stay connected, and I don't know if we're ready to
Yeah.
spill the beans.
That's what's up. So I have the bigger trade and travel course, but if you stay on the rest of the week, we actually have a way for you to get in cheaper. So, yeah, we got something coming.
Listen.
If y'all are ready for that on this end of this good old blessed week, can you just put
I love it.
I'ma
Ingrid's
be
dancing.
ready?
She's
Can you
like,
just put I'ma
yes.
be ready in the chat, just so when I get on the plane in the morning that I know I don't have to come to y'all's doors and
Yes.
knock you out. I just need to make sure that we're on one accord. Okay.
Right? I'm seeing all
Okay.
that. I'm going to be ready.
Okay.
What? Get ready.
We are not going to play ourselves when that cart opens, okay?
Yes.
'Cause you didn't play yourself. You did not play yourself when Miss Renaissance tickets opened.
That'd
You
be
sure
nice.
didn't. And tell me what did that investment do for your legacy?
Listen, what did it do for your legacy? I think that's something we should ask ourselves
Every
often.
day, right? In my head, I was trying to think it through. I was like, well, I got that good picture.
Listen,
We
the
did.
picture was necessary.
And I got to post it up, but then everybody had a picture. So, I mean, it really didn't help my legacy. But maybe my great great grandkids are going to see that picture
Yes,
and remember that their
yes.
great great grandma was fun.
A good time
Yeah.
was a good time.
Yeah.
Not only did you trade and travel, but you also had a good time in the Lord.
At the Renaissance.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So now we are learning a completely different language. And because you're taking it slow with us, we're actually able to learn it. I saw a bunch of folks in the chat who were saying, no, this pace is good because I'm actually learning it. So now,
Wait, real quick.
yes.
Candace has put this 3 times. So,
Okay, Candace, let's make sure we
Can-
get you.
Candace, you asked, and this was part of your homework, so that's why I'm gonna make sure to answer for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
You says, as I'm creating my watch list, I'm not sure which sector I want to add. What should I look for when adding the sectors? Actually, since it's a watch list, I often say put all of them that you're interested in the watch list, and then you'll be able to watch them over time. Like that's what that watch list is for, and you can see which ones are doing well on days where the whole stock market is down. Which one is down a little less than the others? That means it's doing a little better. Or if you just are interested in a couple, put them all. It's okay to put more than one.
Ooh. And now, Ron, I got to get to your question. And I have a question, but we're going to get to yours because that is good. How did you not talk yourself out of that $30,000 investment? Ooh, Ron, that was good. Thank you for that.
You know what? I actually almost did. It was also one of those things where I talked to the wrong people. Yesterday, I think Anthony talked about speaking to the wrong people. I know my mom's probably in here somewhere, but at the time, she was the wrong person because she was super scared and very frugal. I mean, rightfully so. The last 50 years of her life, she had to be super tight with pennies because we didn't have a lot. So now all of a sudden, I'm about to go make this investment for $30,000, and it's on stocks. It's on something that nobody ever knows, and then it's always risky. It was my grandmother for me. My grandmother, she was the one who actually encouraged me, like, go learn this thing. And even when I decided to quit my job, she was the one that was like, go, baby. You can go quit the job and go travel. And she's a praying woman, so she had prayed about it. And one day she called me, and she's like, they call me Tracy. Terry Latrice is my name. I usually don't tell the secret, so y'all VIP, y'all got the secret of what my name is to my family. But she was like,
Tracy Trades, honey.
right?
T squared.
Don't put that nowhere, y'all. Don't put that nowhere. That'd be like Pookie. No, don't put the name out. But she called me and she's like, baby, you know, I prayed about it and you should go. She's like, those people at your job, they're holding you back. And she's like, you never want to have to feel less than you are. And at that time in the job, I was feeling less than who I was meant to be.
Yes.
And so it was my grandmother who actually encouraged me to go ahead and learn the skill, and then finally encouraged me to quit the job and start traveling.
That's why you need some people who will speak to the future you.
Yeah.
Not just the present you, but have you some friends who will speak to that future you who knows, no, I see something in you that is possible, because that changes the game. If you only have people in your life who are speaking to the you who you are trying to no longer be, those are the ones you're going to have to bid adieu, say goodbye. And that's okay.
It's okay. Right, both of us. That's okay.
That's okay. But there have been a number of comments in here about folks who they're still dealing with the fear, but that learning that new financial language, learning this language, even understanding the question around, you know, are we investing in a stock, or what's the index, or what's our watch list? How do we decide on our subcategories? It can sometimes feel overwhelming. So for those who are still working through the fear around whether or not they can learn it, what are you suggesting that what concepts do they need to make sure that they're focusing in on? Like, as they're learning these lessons here, so they have a little homework out on the side of this, what are you suggesting? Which concepts should they focus on?
Tonight, I want you all to focus on building your watch list. So focus on making sure that you have that CNBC app so that you can just be aware of more financial news, and then focus on putting those companies, the ones we talked about today, the SPY, the QQQ, and the DIA, and y'all know from our discussion today which indexes those cover. Put a couple of sectors. If you want to add a stock in there, go ahead into your watch list. Start there. I'm the type of teacher that everything I do builds on itself. So some of you all may have felt like, oh, well, yesterday was too simple. But then you realize that today you needed to know everything that I covered yesterday. We needed to know about, okay, this is a stock exchange. We needed to know all those things so that today made sense. Same thing. I'm taking you guys through baby steps, but everything you learned today will come in handy tomorrow when we actually open the brokerage account. So just stick with what I'm teaching each day, and by the end of the week, you're going to look back and say, I don't know how I learned how to buy and sell this stock. Terry told us, and now I know how to do it, and it was so simple. So today, focus on building the watch list.
Listen, and Aisha, I feel like Aisha gonna come through this screen if I don't ask this question. I see you, sis. What books would you suggest that we use to supplement our learning?
Again, y'all stop with the supplemental, okay? You don't need no supplemental. Y'all, just eat the meal that's on the table, okay? We're going to put the food on the table on Friday. Y'all going to get the meal. Y'all going to eat it. Y'all going to learn. And in a year, when you need some supplemental, call me, okay? Y'all stop this right now. I'm serious. I know I'm being funny right now, but I'm serious, though. We have to stay focused on the thing that we have right in front of us. And I think why a lot of us are like, what do I need to do? It's because you haven't had a teacher in your life who understands the methodology of how we learn, right?
Yes.
A lot of us come from disadvantaged communities, unresourced communities, and so the teachers that we had did not understand that I teach a simple practice, and then it builds, and then it builds, and then it builds, and then one day you're like, whoa, trust the process, and you're not used to trusting the process because you haven't had people that you can trust. This is someone you can trust. This is a program that you can trust. And if y'all ask one more question about an app or a book that is not trade and travel, we gonna fight, okay?
And I'm laughing just because, like, I'm
'Cause
looking
it's
at
true.
yeah, it's true. And I'm looking at y'all's comment. Somebody was trying to, like, help clarify. They were like, no, but Anthony told us to read yesterday.
Don't listen to Anthony. Y'all stop it. It's Tuesday. We on a new day. We're not talking about Anthony. Anthony was Monday.
Robert's like, I am here today.
Anita said this is what Moses went through because y'all don't want the manna every day, huh?
Yes. But I will say this to you guys. Robert is right. Please focus on what I'm teaching you today. Like I can't promise anything, but my goal really is that by the end of this week, you'll understand how to buy and sell your first stock of the index. So let's stay focused on this. Let's get it and like really learn it well. You don't need another book right now. By the end of this week, you're gonna know how to buy and sell. To that end, though, after this, my goal is to disappear into the world and go write a book. So at one point, you'll be able to read my book, and that'll be the one. But until then, we'll use the course as our book.
Woo.
Yeah.
This is so good. And I want to make sure we're honoring y'all's time.
Oh, yeah.
So we're going to ask just one more question here, and then if you want, we could popcorn
Sure.
and then go home.
Okay.
So, Robert, you believe in making generational moves and never counting yourself out. Can you give us just a quick little strategy? I'm going to just tap in real quick because I know you are the master storyteller. So can you give us a quick little strategy to craft our own new generational story that we can then support with our actions?
Vision. Vision. Vision, vision, vision. That dance studio that I showed y'all, when there was nothing but rubble on the floor, I had pictures of what I wanted the floor to be. I knew that I wanted it to be a white floor. I knew that I wanted these beautiful French linen curtains, right? And what's so interesting is, speaking of generational moves, is that when we got to that point in the process of, it's now time to decorate the studio. Yeah. I had lost my best friend. One of my best friends, Darius Barnes, had passed. And so this generational move, thank you, friend, this generational move was then being able to name that studio the Darius Barnes Dance Studio. And everything that is in that studio, because I had a vision board, I was able to go to the top dance floor company. He danced for New York City Ballet, and I told them the story, and I showed them the vision board that I'd been looking at for 4 years, and they gave me a $300,000 floor for free. The mats for free. The bars for free. Those
Vision.
beautiful curtains for free. Those chandeliers from Paris for free.
Oh,
right?
wow.
And it came all from vision, right? Again, what you saw was rubble, but generational move is that, okay, I need to make the vision, I need to make it plain, I need to make it clear. So for you right now, you're thinking of my trade and my travel. Where is it that you want to be vacationing next summer? right? When I see myself in 12 months, what does that sunset look like? And I'm telling you right now, you get clear on that vision and don't muddy the picture up with a lot of stuff, right? Because we overcomplicate it. It needs to be this and this and that. Keep it simple. I just want to see the sunset, right? And when you see that thing will come to be when you keep it simple and you are consistent and you show up and you roll up on what you know you are supposed to be doing daily. So I would say make a vision board, I think is the,
Ooh, I love that.
but keep it simple.
I love that.
Love it. I love it. I love it. Iris, I want to make sure that we respond to you. Remember, because of the tech issues yesterday, you can go onto YouTube right now. After this, you can go onto YouTube, Trade and Travel,
Yes.
and you can watch it from yesterday, so you do not have to worry about waiting. You can go and do that as soon as this is over.
And you all, if you want to, you can share it with your friends too. We said, you know what, we're gonna just do this as a gift to everybody. You're only supposed to get replays if you're in the VIP. We will not post this replay other than you all who are here. When we have the link, we'll send it to you in a package where you can actually find it. But for last night, we said, let's make it a gift because people had technical difficulties. And you guys can share that as well with your family and friends.
Look at that. Your network, your expanding of your network is now going to help somebody else to begin the process of building their legacy. So give yourselves a hand clap for that, like with your actual hands.
Yay.
Yes, yes.
And can I do something real quick? Ingrid, earlier Robert pointed you out, and I've also been seeing your face today. I'd like to bless you with $1,000. So
Yes,
Ingrid Washington, yes. If y'all could put Ingrid up here in the back.
Put Ingrid in
Can
the
y'all
back.
put
Is she
Ingrid up
jumping
on the
and
screen?
down?
It's Ingrid Washington,
Ingrid with
right
an E.
here, E. She's here in
She
this
is
middle.
jumping up and down.
One, I
one.
think. One. Ingrid Washington. She's in this top row.
Yes.
The fourth over from the top row, or fifth over. She's waving. Ingrid
Yes.
Washington. And Ingrid, send an email to hello@tradeandtravel.com. Put on there. Terry said, "Hey Ingrid, how you doing? Congratulations. You have just been paying so much attention and you are in the conversation. You are with us. And I just appreciate that so much. I love the energy. I love that you're paying attention. So, guys, tomorrow we may bless another person here. But thank you for just being here, showing up for yourself, and just being so engaged with us. We really, really appreciate you.
Yes. I love
Yeah.
this.
My God.
It's the blessing.
You have some blessings. Yes, ma'am.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. You
Oh, you
messed
crying
me
over
up.
there?
Because this is what happens, right? Like, Ingrid, was this an investment for you? Did this investment hurt a little bit? No?
Oh, I love that.
Listen,
She
I
was
love
great.
She said, no.
Listen, I love it. But I know for somebody in this room, this investment hurt a little bit. Yeah, if that was you, will you raise your hand? Don't be, yet.
Yeah.
Larry, no
I
shame.
see you, Genevieve.
I'm telling you right
No
now, there's going to
shame.
be a day when it's not.
Yeah.
Okay?
I see you,
There's going to be
Andrea.
a day. Listen. Wow. Thank
This-
you, Terry.
My pleasure.
is
Thank you.
amazing.
Thank you for coming,
Aw.
Rob. Thank you for sharing your story today.
Thank you.
I absolutely love your story.
I love
I-
you. I'm serious, and I love what you. Thank you. And I love what you're doing for us. I love
Yeah.
it. I love it. This takes such a leap of faith. Y'all, what she is doing here at Sage Studios,
Yeah.
y'all, people don't invest in their people in this way. Terry could have very well been at home on her Zoom room and did this, right?
Yeah.
But she
Yeah.
wanted to give you an experience to see yourself in the future and to get these skills and to get these tools. And so, thank you.
Thank
you are
you.
so
Pleasure.
inspiring.
Thank
We
you.
love you.
And so, what I would like for every one of you to do, because they both have been pouring their literal hearts and souls out, can y'all just add some encouragement for Terry and for Robert in the chat? Because we want to make sure that tonight we send them off so that Terry has everything that she needs to come back to us tomorrow. just whatever inspiring message that you want to put, whether it's sending some love, an emoji, whatever it is to make sure Robert gets back safely, just send that.
Yeah.
Because there is so much power in coming together. And I want them, flooded, that's right.
I
God
love
bless
it.
you. All are amazing. Thank you. Yes,
Thank
yes.
you.
You have no idea what your support and what your own empowerment does to help to gird them up and support them. So thank you so much. Yes, you both truly are a
Yeah.
blessing. I hope y'all are taking this in and soaking
Thank
it up.
you all. And this is so encouraging because doing a big event like this is actually quite a bit of work. Like my team and I, after we left here, we were up another 4 or 5 hours just responding to your emails, responding to the messages on YouTube, responding to the messages. So shout out to my team as well. Like we really just like our big goal is just to help you learn this week. And so we pray that you're learning and something is added to your life. So thank you for being here and thank you so much for these kind words. We really appreciate it.
So now, y'all already know, you cannot miss tomorrow.
Yes.
Every day builds on the other, and we are not getting any supplements because this is the main course
Yes.
and the entree. So we will see you tomorrow.
Yes, and somebody asked, will the replay be available before the lesson? Because this is a live studio, they have a full production team. We're kind of at the mercy of the production team. So as soon as we get it from them, we're trying to get it to you. But just give us a little flexibility because we don't really have control over when we get it. But we're going to get it to you as soon as we get it.
Yes, I promise. As soon as we get it, y'all will get it. Okay, now I need y'all to permeate that through everybody's spirit, okay, so that we remember for tomorrow. You won't get it immediately, but you will get it, okay? You will find the replay. Remember, we just said it. You will find the replay. It'll be in your dashboard, and you will get it once we have it, okay?
Yes. But yesterday's, you can go on YouTube right now.
Oh, wait,
Trade and travel.
Makita said that we didn't answer her question. Makita, what was your question? You're going to be the last one, and then we are going to head on out.
Thank you.
Makita, add it quickly so we can make sure, because we want to release folks, okay?
Yes, late. It's late. It's
All right,
almost 11.
Makita, we gave you an opportunity, but I'm gonna look for you tomorrow, okay? Oh, wait, here we go. How often does the ranking and weight of the S&P 500 change?
Honestly, it changes as companies grow. So it really depends. But as a company grows in value and how much money it has, then they might change the ranking of the S&P.
I love it. And now, Jennifer, you might not be tired, but the rest of us need a little rest, okay? So we're gonna go ahead and get our rest, and we will
See you
see you all tomorrow.
tomorrow.
You can log into your profile to see your dashboard. So we will see you all tomorrow. Thank y'all
Bye,
so much.
guys. Thank y'all.
Bye.
See you.